Hey, what's up, collecting crew? This is episode 2, and in this episode, we're going to talk about our parents' influences. Sorry, our parents' influences about us and our hobby. We're going to talk about the things that we enjoy sharing with our family, our kids. We're going to talk about the main thing what the show was created for: balancing family, finances, and figures. So stay tuned, and we'll jump right into it. All right, so this is Apparently Collecting. And for those of you not familiar, this show is basically a play on the parent collector, where I use the term parent loosely, right? Because parent can mean a lot of things. Not only can it be a parent of obviously our offspring, our kids, but it can also be a parent figure, a guardian, a caregiver, whatever the situation may be. Overall, the main thing we all have in common is that we're all trying to balance our hobby, our finances, family, and just life. And real quick, especially those out there who are single parents, single guardians, sole providers, big shout out to you guys, because that is tough. And so if you have whatever little time that you have and you're tuning in now and you're watching, I appreciate your time. Thank you. Hopefully we make this worth your while and we keep you entertained. All right. And let's see here real quick, see what we got. Let me address the chat real quick. Insane One, you are the man. Thank you for being here. Bam, we got you. Always supportive. I appreciate, man. Thank you for coming out here and being out with us today. And I'm sure we'll get more as we go along here. They trickle in. But with that, we got 2 new segments, potentially new, right? So this first one, we're going to go right into, I call breaking the seal. It's basically an icebreaker, right? It's just kind of a way to start up. So with that said, let's get right into it. All right, gentlemen, right with the icebreaker here. Here we go. Okay. What childhood figures would you like to see brought back? Or figure, toy line, what have you? Mr. Mom's Collectables. Again, we'll go over intros later, but this is kind of, like I said, just like an icebreaker. We'll start with you, Ryan. Take it away.
The childhood, they already did them once. I'd like to see it done as a reissue, which I don't see it happening, and expanding on the line is dead giveaway should be what's behind me up on the top shelf is the Ghostbusters line. I know Blitzway did the 4 original Ghostbusters, a couple years back, and I missed out on that line. And I really wish that they would reissue those, plus give us a Ghostbuster 2 line in the dark uniforms and all that stuff. So that's what I wish. It's not a Hot Toy, unfortunately, but the reason why is because Hot Toys checks all the boxes on my childhood figures: RoboCop, Back to the Future, Spider-Man, all that stuff. So the only thing that's left is Ghostbusters. So it's on Blitzway, and yeah, that's what I would want. That's what I want.
Nice. I should have guessed, right? Yeah. Seeing all your videos, and we'll touch on that later. But yeah, I would have guessed you Ghostbusters, man. All right, and we got Steve from Steve Showcase. What would your childhood figure wish be to bring back? It can be anything too. Sorry, I forgot to say, it doesn't have to be Hot Toys like Ryan mentioned. It can be any manufacturer, any brand.
Yeah, well, I think like Ryan, Hot Toys checks a lot of my boxes too, because as a little kid, Star Wars is absolutely my favorite. But things that aren't made today in 6 scale by Hot Toys, at least recently, that I would love to see is, you guys may be too young, but when I was a little kid, there were these 12-inch 6 scale G.I. Joe figures. And I wanted them so bad, but by the time I was kind of able to maybe get some of them, I think they decided to transition from the 12-inch to the little 3 3/4 inch. So I got a bunch of those, which were great, but I never did get any of those 12-inch G.I. Joe figures. And so Hot Toys and Sideshow and stuff have made some G.I. Joe figures, 6 scale, and I do have some of those, but I would just love for that line to kind of open back up. Those are just, I love ninjas and military guys and little gadgets and stuff.
Yeah, so we got Ghostbusters and G.I. Joe.
Yep.
So mine would be, yeah, mine would be. Do you guys remember Centurions? Remember the
Yes.
cartoon
Yep.
Centurions?
Yep.
The Power Extreme. Yeah, I know they brought those back in. I think it was a third party. Or well, obviously they had the '80s toys, but they brought them back again, and they were smaller scale. But I would like to see those brought back in some fashion, right? To have all the connecting pieces and the different parts. That would be pretty cool. I think 6 scale would be kind of big, so I don't know if some third party would do that to be maybe too big. So maybe something in between, I guess, either 12, maybe 7 scale. You know, something along those lines, a good size. But yeah, I've always wanted to have. I didn't have those when I was younger, but those would be really cool, I think, to have. And again, nostalgia, right? That's kind of what we always kind of go back to. You guys, Ryan, Ghostbusters, Steve, G.I. Joe. So for me, yeah, I think it would be in Centurions. That's one of the things on my list I haven't checked off yet for figures I have to get. All right, but thank you for that. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Let me know in the comments if you like that segment. Again, it's called Breaking the Seal. We'll kind of see how it goes, and this is totally up to you guys, you know, depending on how it goes. Every episode, every show, I'll probably come up with a different question just to kind of, again, break the seal. It kind of probably goes without saying, but breaking the seal kind of obviously refers to when you get that first figure, right? And you have that sticker, you get your scissors or your X-Acto knife or however you want to open it, or you can just rip it up. But you cut that seal, and it's just like the first moment right there. You're just getting that figure, opening up, and bam. And we all know the fresh figure smell, right?
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, that's like the collecting version of breaking the ice, right? It's break the seal. All right, so let's see who we got. Again, Insane One. Thank you, man. Single parents, woo, yeah, right? Exactly.
I know all the parents are cooking dinner right now. That's why this stream's probably going to be watched on the replay afterwards.
Yeah,
so.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's another thing. Yeah, apologize for the time. I know a lot of people. It's kind of middle of the day. I'm still trying to figure out a day and time when to have this frequent. I know there's a lot of other shows going on, so I got to see. And during the week, you know, we're obviously as parents, as family people, we got a lot going on, right? And for me personally, usually the weekends is when I have time to do this. So I'm still trying to figure out a time where that doesn't conflict. But again, yeah, if you guys have suggestions, let me know. But with that, let's go ahead and get into intros. Ryan, Mr. Mom's Collectables, go ahead and do your thing.
Well, thank you everybody, and those who are watching, which is Insane One, and those who will probably be watching after. I am Brian, also known as Mr. Mom Collectables, and the real quick, the name, because obviously the name catches on, people see the name, and real fast. When my daughter was born, June of 2020, I started collecting Hot Toys specifically the month before that. I was collecting a lot of stuff my whole life, but I was actually a stay-at-home dad. I actually lost my job due to COVID, and so I was a stay-at-home dad for when my daughter was born, and my wife and I decided that I would stay home and take care of my daughter. So for the first, I would say, year and a half, I was raising her, and my father-in-law was the one who kind of coined the name Mr. Mom from the Michael Keaton movie, Mr. Mom, which came out right before he took on Batman, which I know everyone joked about, Mr. Mom's going to be Batman, but he's still my best Batman. That's my Batman. But anyway, that's the name, and so that's what they joked about, call me Mr. Mom. So when it came time to do a YouTube branding and everything like that, Mr. Mom Collectables, it kind of, was catchy, and it seems to be catching on. And the focus of my stuff is, as you guys know, the shorts that I make, the videos of my daughter, her playing with my Hot Toys and stuff. So I'm very including of my daughter in my collecting habits. So that's something that I don't think is seen enough in the community. So that's something that I'm doing is, my daughter's involved in my Instagram photos, things like that. So it's kind of like my deal. So, but avid Hot Toy collector, but I'm a collector of pop culture, everything like that. So we can get into that kind of stuff. So that's me.
Yeah, nice. Thanks for the introduction. And yeah, I agree. That's one of the reasons why I created this show, right? Because I noticed there's not a lot of current YouTubers who aren't incorporating, discussing, not only our hobby, but the things we have to deal with on an everyday basis, right, throughout the week. And so yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, the same reason why I started this. So we'll look to address some of those things later on, obviously, as we discuss in the stream. But all right, going on to our next guest. We got Steve from Steve's Showcase. Go ahead and let people know about yourself.
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Steve. And first, let me say thank you for having me on. Really appreciate it. This is actually my first ever live stream, so we'll see how I do. But I am not new to collecting 6-scale figures, or I mean, I've been collecting toys my whole life, but 6-scale in particular, gosh, I've been collecting them for probably about 20 years. But I am new to engaging with the community. And so I've been lurking in the 6-scale community, the IG, folks and the Facebook and, a lot of YouTube and stuff, and been, just actively watching that. And then recently decided, this community just seems so passionate and caring about it that it just really wanted me to want to connect with all of you and be part of that. It just really feels special to me. And so I decided to create Steve Showcase. And gosh, I think I've just been around a few weeks and starting to engage with folks and stuff. And it's already feeling great. And so that's, this is my first live stream, and I'm here and I'm loving it. And, the community just seems really, really great. And I'm passionate about this stuff and love talking about it. I could talk about it all day long.
Yeah, well, thanks for being here, for both of you, and for being some of my first guests. Like I said, this is the second episode, and so you guys are within the top 5 first guests so far. So thank you again. But no, yeah, to echo that, same. I was been lurking in the streams for a while, watching everybody, and I just noticed that how the community was very welcoming, and everyone, for the most part, was pretty chill, really cool. And so, again, as far as my intro, you guys, if you haven't already, you can check out the intro video that I did on my channel. It's only one of the other 2 that I have on there now, so when you get a chance. And also during the stream, if you are curious, I have the links to these gentlemen's social media and their YouTubes down in the description below. And while you're down there, if you don't mind considering hitting that like button, maybe subscribing. I also put timestamps for you guys and girls catching the replay. And if you want to, after the stream, and you guys kind of want to skip ahead for certain things, I know it's kind of taboo for a viewer as a content creator, because, the algorithm and all that stuff. But I know how it is. I've been there. I've been, like I said, a viewer most of the time, and so I appreciate the timestamps. So they're down there if you guys want to check them out on the replay. Like I said, all I ask is that you consider dropping a like. All right. So having said that, let's kick it off with our first topic here. All right, so we'll start from the beginning. So I figured now, in our generation, we're in this collecting cycle, right? So it has to, obviously it starts somewhere, and from there it's going to kind of circle around. So that's where I kind of pulled this question from. So we'll start with Mr. Mom's Collectibles. What do you have to share about your parents' influence on your hobby, and how that started, or influence, support, or just anything you want to touch on about that?
Well, the funny thing about it was actually my it was probably my grandmother who was actually the biggest influence. I was raised as a only child, and my parents actually, which I have no problem delving into anything, my parents divorced when I was very early on, when I was only a few months old. So I was raised primarily by my grandmother, and because I was an only child, I was obviously spoiled, which that's how it is with my daughter. So that takes a big thing. So I didn't really understand the value of, well, when I saw it, I got it, that kind of thing. And I was born in 1987, so I grew up, like I said, I think I said it last, my last time I talked about it, was the 4 pillar stones of my childhood was Ghostbusters, Batman 1989, Back to the Future, and RoboCop. I just, because every one of them had cartoons, everyone had toys, and I owned every one of them. So that's kind of where it started. And, that's just kind of where it flourished. And then as I got older, just started buying my own stuff and collecting my own stuff. I just collected what I liked, but, it never really was, my grandmother definitely helped, 20-year no G. And, but so, like I said, that she really kind of bought all that stuff and kind of fed the passion, I guess you could say. You know, I had the Kenner Proton packs, I had the toys, all that stuff, and that's what's pretty cool. So you can see it right above me. They reissue all the toys. So that's the Kenner Ghostbusters car right there, and my daughter plays with that, which is so cool. So you know, that's really where it was, and that just took on, you know. But yeah, that's really what happened. And then as I got older, just buying stuff, and I just bought what I liked. That's just what it was, you know. That's really where it started for me, at least. And even now with my wife, you know, moved on to her, you know, reluctantly accepting my hobby. I guess you could say that's a nice way of putting it.
Yeah.
As long as the mortgage is paid on time, that's all that matters in terms of the Hot Toys. So, but she supports me in terms of the content creation. She didn't think that I'd be as passionate about. I've only been doing it for like 4 weeks. You know, I think I met you guys pretty early on, starting. The same thing with Insane One. So I've been doing it for under a month, and she supports it. Like I said, she supports the hobby. She supports what I'm doing in terms of content creation. She knows I like it. You know, so that's kind of my story about where everything is as of right now.
Nice. Shout out to Grandma. Yeah, again, it goes back to the single parents, right? She looks like she raised you well. So again, shout out to the single parents, single providers. Yeah, it's tough. You know, I'm sure there was a couple of times where my wife, like I mentioned, my wife goes out of town, sometimes for a weekend. It was rarely, but when that happens, obviously I'm on full weekend daddy duties, and that's just like, I'm sure, just a glimpse of what it's like being a single parent. So yeah, it's tough, I'm sure.
Yep.
But all right. Steve, how about you? What would you say your parents' influence, or how did they support your hobby growing up?
Oh, this is a great question. Thank you. I have a story I'm going to tell that I just love this story, part of my childhood. My parents are great, and very supportive. So right around the time A New Hope came out, I was a teeny tiny little kid. I went to the theater and I saw it and was, you know, blown away. And I've been a huge Star Wars fan ever since then. And one day, Mom and I are at the store, and I'm at the toy aisle, and I see this little carded little Chewbacca. And I just couldn't believe it. And I was just like, oh my gosh, he looks amazing. He just looked so detailed, you know, at the time, plus I'm a little kid. And so I went up to Mom. I'm like, Mom, can I get this? And Mom was like, you know, not right now, you know, maybe for Christmas. And I was like, you know, okay. You know, so I put it up. Fast forward to many months later, it's Christmas time. And my parents always really spoiled us at Christmas. And so we open up all these presents. I got all this great stuff. I'm super happy. And there's one present left. And it was kind of a long, thin box, and it didn't really rattle, and I was like, oh, it's stupid clothes, you know. And so I just kind of saved it for last.
Yeah.
And I remember kind of playing with the toys and stuff, and Mom was like, you gonna open up that last one? And I'm thinking, oh, it's a pair of jeans or a sweater or something dumb. And I was like, oh yeah, I'll open it up. And I open it up, and there was Chewbacca.
Oh
and
man.
other Star Wars figures. And so I got all 4 of them. So I just felt Mom really she remembered, and she came through for me, and just been, you know, collecting those things ever since. And I still have all of them.
Whoa, that's awesome. Hold on, let me bring you up here.
Yeah,
Man,
let me see if I can. Yeah.
Wow. And that's is that the Kenner one?
Mm-hmm.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yep.
My daughter would have a field day with that.
What's that?
My daughter would have a field day with that if she got that in her hands.
Oh, I always really took care of my toys and stuff as a little kid, and as an adult now. And you guys maybe saw some of my little shorts where I get the little makeup brush and I'm dusting them off and stuff. But, you know, that stems back all the way to my childhood. And so I took care of all my little Star Wars figures and G.I. Joe and stuff. And so I still have all the Star Wars ones. They're in great shape. I have some of the play sets. But my G.I. Joes, I let my little nephews play with them, and yeah, they kind of tore them up.
Oh, I see.
Like those and my Masters of the Universe are gone in the ether somewhere. But thankfully, I have all my Star Wars.
Nice. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I was the same way. I learned at a young age. I think it was probably from my dad. Take care of my stuff and take care of my toys, and I have a good amount of them. Some of them, kind of got rid of. Again, for those of you catching the replayer out there, I go over this in my intro video, so I don't want to kind of rehash that or repeat myself here. But just to kind of piggyback on what Steve was saying, yeah, I was the same way, and I still have some of my figures. But one thing that I got recently that my mom actually contacted me earlier. This was after I did the intro video. I got something to show you guys here. Let me do this full screen. There we go. All right. Do you guys remember these McDonald's Transformer figures?
Oh
Yeah.
wow, I had those as a kid.
Yeah.
Nice.
So yeah, yeah. So we got this guy. This was the Big Mac guy. We got
Oh wow,
the hamburger guy, right? Still
oh my
This is
god, I
from-
remember having that.
This is from your childhood that your mom just
Yeah.
recently. Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
Well, because yeah, like I was saying, like I kept most of my stuff. Some of it was kind of around, and my mom came across it going through some stuff, and she sent me a text with a picture of these, and she's like, "Are these yours?" And this is a Fry guy, and I was like, "What?" I was like, "Yeah." I
That
was
is
like,
great.
"Yeah."
You're like, I'll be
and
right over to get them.
yeah, no, really, yeah, that's how it went. It was funny because I was actually thinking about these. These just popped in my head for some reason. I don't know why, and coincidentally, yeah, she ended up sending me that text with that picture. I think like a couple of days after, 1 or 2 days afterwards. So, yeah. And then there was this one with it. I can't remember what this is from. Do you guys remember this one at all? This was like obviously it's a
Not
female
familiar with
movie.
that one.
Is that a Muppet?
Yeah, there was.
Is that Miss Piggy?
I can't remember what it was. No, it's kind of like similar to I want to say Rescuers Down Under, but it wasn't like Chippendale, I mean, or Rescuers Down Under type of thing. But they had like other
okay.
figures. I think there was an animated show of that also from the 80s. But yeah, and so I was just kind of blown away that she still had those. And yeah, sure enough, I was like, yep, hold on to those. I'm gonna pick those up. And when I went by, I picked them up.
It is awesome. Have you guys ever, just out of curiosity, looked up some of your toys on eBay and see what they're going for, like the old ones?
Yeah, well,
I haven't. Oh, do you? Go ahead, Ryan.
yeah. I found, what it is. There's certain things that, not like, because a lot of the stuff that I have, they reissued. Like I got like, I remember earlier on when I was playing with, like I said, Batman was a big deal, and I know the toy line. Like I have the Batman. It's tucked in the corner. I can't see it, but I have it still in the case. The Batman, like the little 3.25 size black Batman figure that came out from the movie that had like the little yellow retractable belt. From the 1989 Batman movie. I have that. I mean, it's not expensive. You can get, but I have that because it's something I played with as a kid. And a big thing for me from my childhood was many years we would go to Universal Studios Florida every year when I was a kid. And back then they had all the rides, Ghostbusters, Back to the Future, all those, like all the classics that they got rid of. And I remember there was a purge at the time when I went on eBay and I was buying like all my old stuff that I had there. And like it's hard to see behind me, but like in this display case here, like right there, that's a 1/8 scale DeLorean model that I built. I don't know if you're familiar with the company Eagle Moss. They went out of business, but they were they're a model subscription where they send you parts to a car every month. You get like a couple of model subscription. So that thing is like solid metal right there. That thing weighs.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
So, and it lights up interior, like it's detailed. It took me a year to build that, from getting the parts from start to finish. So it's invasive, but nevertheless, I kind of made a little shrine to Back to the Future, and I went back and I found like the old pamphlet that I had from Universal Studios, went on eBay, bought that. Like I bought like a keychain of the DeLorean that I remember having as a kid. So I kind of made a little Back to the Future shrine up there of all that stuff. So stuff like that, I sometimes go on eBay, and if I see something, for a couple bucks, I'll grab it, that kind of thing. But that's what I do sometimes.
Yeah, for me. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, to answer your question, I haven't recently, just because I don't know, I haven't had that urge to, but I think the last time I did it was a while ago. But some of them are kind of random. Some of the things I still have, some of the figures, like this, for example, like I don't know if I would go on eBay to see how much these are. Maybe Now that you brought it up, I probably will after the stream or something. But typically, no. I just have like most of the stuff I have. I have to keep right for the long term. So
Yeah.
I don't really too often go in and see what the value is. And I'm sure we'll probably touch on that later. But yeah, that's just me. What about you, Steve? Do you do that?
Yeah, I'm with you. I keep the things because I want to keep them, not because they're valuable. But the reason is those McDonald's toys made me think of that. But
Oh, I see.
maybe, gosh, 7 years ago or something, my dad brought out a bunch of stuff from store. My parents live in Missouri. I'm here in California, and they brought a bunch of stuff from storage, my childhood toys out. And I'm going through it. I'm like, oh man, I forgot about all these different things. That's where I got the Star Wars figures. I didn't forget about them. I knew I had them, but I don't know if you guys remember like Shogun Warriors and those really big kind of soldier robot figures and stuff. And I had some of those. And me and a buddy was talking about them. Anyway, I decided to look them up just on eBay because he was looking for some parts for his to complete kind of the full set. And I was like, holy crap, these things are worth like a little fortune. And so I kind of looked up some of my other toys and stuff. And so I told my kids, when I'm long and gone and you guys inherit all this stuff, they're toys, but look them up and see what the value is. And if you guys don't want to keep them and get rid of them, pay attention to what they're worth. Don't just sell them for 50 cents in a garage sale because it could be worth $500 or $1,000 or something.
Yeah, more later on. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
so it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, right. Sometimes you can be surprised, and sometimes I think some other thing, not from my childhood, but some other things I had, I was curious on, and yeah, some of the things I have are worth more than I would have thought. So I was like, oh well. But again, it's just curiosity. But I haven't done it on my older figures, so maybe something I should do. But yeah, going off of that, bringing the kids and passing that on. Again, mentioning the cycle, right? So our next topic here, we'll kind of touch on that. What part of collecting do you enjoy sharing with your kids? So we'll start with you, Steve, since you kind of mentioned this in your previous response. You can kind of keep the momentum going on that.
Yeah, well, my kids are older, and so they're adults. Justin's 24, and the twins are 19, almost 20. But kind of, I've been collecting for a long time. And so from a 6 scale perspective, I remember this moment in particular I had with my oldest son, and this is, gosh, maybe 10 years ago. At the time, this is a bit of a story, but my wife at the time was a full-time, mom at home. She wasn't working outside the house. And, I was working all the time, and I was doing freelance work and stuff, so I was just busy. And so my wife and I had this discussion and decided, what about every summer when the kids are out of school, I take the kids individually on kind of an ultimate day with dad, is what we call it.
Yeah.
But just a one-on-one day where the kid gets to decide what we'll do, and we'll do whatever it is. And so do we want to go to Legoland? We'll get a hotel, and we'll just, do we want to go to Disneyland? What do we want to do? And so one year, about 10 years ago, my oldest son, which at the time he was probably like 13 or something, wanted to go do these various things. And one of them was go to a 6 scale action figure store that was here in the LA area at the time.
Yeah.
And look around. I was like, oh, heck yeah. And so we did that. And when we were there, my son was like, I kind of want to just build my own. And so that was a segue for us to get into kit bashing, where you buy all these little bits and pieces and kind of build your own characters.
Yeah.
And so Justin and I, for many years, were building these characters, and we created this whole universe that we called the line. And I mean, we got a story behind it. We were taking photos and building all these characters together and stuff. And it was just really great. And even now, he's 24, he has a bunch of Hot Toy Predators. And I was just in his room and we were talking about them, and I'm like, oh, when
Yeah.
you move out, you're just gonna leave these here for me, right? And we're joking
Yeah.
about it and stuff.
Did, did he kit bash those, or are those the original Hot Toys ones from a while ago?
The original ones, yeah, he
Oh,
collects
nice.
those. He has eight, maybe eight of them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Okay, nice.
yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah. But and then the twins and my wife. I mean, they're I wouldn't say they're like into them, but I'll show them. I'll be like, oh, look at this new dude, and they'll be like, oh, that's cool. And my wife will pretend to listen to me when I'm
Yeah.
talking and showing. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll bring one up, like, let's say Tony here, and I'll show it to my wife or my daughter. My son will know who all of them are, but
Yeah.
I'll be like, oh, look at this. Who is it? And
Yeah.
see if they can guess. And to my surprise, they usually do. And even kind of some, like, I don't want to say obscure, but, my wife really isn't into Star Wars or Marvel or kind of in any of that stuff, but like she'll be like, "Oh, that's Boba Fett," or "That's Ahsoka," or I'm like, "Ooh, impressive."
She's paying attention. Good job.
She's paying attention. Yep.
Yeah.
So when I think I'm telling all this stuff, like I watch an episode of Mandalorian and go, "Oh my gosh, so Ahsoka showed up," and
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I guess maybe she is listening to me.
Yeah. Well, that's good, right? She's getting there. Real quick, shout out to Commander Green showing up. Hey, Commander Green, thanks for joining us. All right. Yeah, real quick on that. So, with that, when we get to you, Ryan, on your wait, is it Ryan or Brian? I thought I heard you say Brian earlier.
Ryan.
Okay, yeah, gotcha. Okay, that's right. For some reason, I heard Brian. I was like, wait a second.
Or
Okay,
Mr. Mom.
catfish?
Makes it easier. Mr. Mom.
Yeah, Mr. Mom. Gotcha, Mr. Mom. Yeah, my wife, she tries. I mean, she does what she can. Sometimes it's funny. One instance that keeps popping up in my head is we're at the dinner table and we're eating and she's talking about. She's like, yeah, that one villain. There's like Thor and there's that one villain who tries to take everybody down. What was his name again? She's like Theon or something like that. I'm like, Theon. I said, yeah, the one with the glove and all the stones. I'm like, you mean Thanos? And she's like, yeah, Thanos. Yeah, so ever since then, I never let it down that she's always like referring to him as Theon, which is totally random. So I mean, she's trying. Yeah.
Yep, she's trying. A for effort.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, Ryder. What about you? What obviously a lot of people already who subscribed or come across your content know that your daughter is a big part of your channel. But anything that you want to share about what you enjoy sharing with her, or just your family in general, maybe her and your wife?
I mean, I think my wife. She's not really. She's not that she's into it. She you know what it is. I think me doing the content creation side of it is getting her more intrigued in terms of. Because I'm kind of doing everything on multiple fronts in terms of photography for my Instagram. She doesn't watch any of the streams or the reviews or anything like that, but I know like photography, we're both photography majors. So I feel like I'm good taking photos of stuff when I have like a natural ability to look at stuff and take photos, but she's better on the editing side when it comes to like editing things like with Photoshop and things like that. So sometimes like today I didn't put anything up on Instagram, but today I took my arena Boba Fett outside in the dirt and was taking photos of it, and she wasn't too happy. She was like, you're taking like a $500 figure outside. I was like, yeah, pretty much. Yeah. I mean, I didn't pay 500, I paid retail. But she's like, how much is it worth? I was like, yeah, you probably sell between 400 to 500. Yeah. And she's like, oh, and you're going outside in the dirt to take photos with it. I'm like, yeah, pretty much. That's what I'm doing.
Here's like, a makeup brush to clean it off after.
Yeah, like I was gentle. I made sure it's clean. Yeah, I mean it's fairly clean. It's back in its home, but so that kind of stuff gets her intrigued. Photos and stuff like that. I mean, the collection. She was always, she lets me get away with it, so that's the thing. And my daughter's new to it. She comes in here because it's the toy room. I kind of let her play with everything, not only the hot toys, but like I said, the cars above, the Ghostbusters cars. Though I own a lot of the Kenner stuff, as you can see. Like, remember I keep pointing to stuff, but like the Kenner, that's like right there is the Kenner Ecto 1. So I have that one, and then I have one in the box that's brand new. So I'm not that person that like buys two of everything, but in that case, I just did. And you know what's funny, because the reason why I did is because this car here, if anyone doesn't know, just to backtrack, when they made that car, they actually I when I fell into Ghostbusters, it was actually Ghostbusters 2, not the first one, the second one, because the second one came out when I was born. So what they did was they took that car, which was from the first movie, and they made like a sticker pack that said like Ghostbusters 2, and they put like all the stickers on it. That's what I grew up with. So I bought two cars and I put like the stickers on one. So my daughter plays with that, and I let her play with that.
Okay.
But the Hot Toys, I mean, it's just cool, like seeing her look at them and see, it's all genuine too. I mean, I haven't had anybody doubt me otherwise, but like I have videos where I just open the cabinet and I'll just say she's 2.5, she's 3 feet tall, so it's not like she can get anything on the top shelf, but I'll open my cabinet and say, go ahead, and she'll look at stuff, and I could tell she like looks at me and kind of gives me like a wink, like I'm okay to do this, and she'll take it. And I think I did a video, a video short the other night where she took my Lando. That's what it was. She opened it up and took the Lando, and that's and I still say that's like my worst hot toy that I have to date so far. I can't stand it. So she took that figure out, and she looked at me and walked over, played with it, and that just expression is really cool. I really like that a lot, And she's touched the 1989 Batman, which I paid $400+ for. I mean, she's played with expensive ones and not so expensive ones. So just seeing her facial expression like that is pretty cool. I think I might do. The next one I get, I might do an unboxing with her and like let her open the box and kind of get an idea. I mean, she might not know what she's opening, but I mean, I might do an unboxing. I think I don't even know what's releasing. I mean, next, I think actually the Hot Toys 1984 Golden Armor Wonder Woman. That's the one that's coming next.
Oh, okay.
I bought that on Sideshow with 30% off. So I think I might just do like, I mean, I'll do a video unboxing of it, but I think I might do like a little couple second unboxing where she opens it up and looks at it and gets her first impression, just something different. So I don't think I've seen a 2-year-old hot toy unboxing before. So that might be a first. I'm just trying to do different things on the channel that are fun, but seeing her expression is so cool. I mean, that's so neat to me, because that's how I was when I was a kid. When I got toys, I got Legos and stuff like that. It's just so much fun. So that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, those Gwen Stacy review shorts, those are awesome.
And her name is Gwen Stacy too. I mean, I haven't had anybody. Her name is, my last name is Carol, so her name's Gwen. Her middle name's Stacy, so Gwen Stacy Carol. So the fact that it's Gwen Stacy, it's a catcher. So I'm all in on all that stuff. So it's people love it.
Yeah, awesome.
She's still on the YouTube channel. Actually, it shouldn't be Mr. Mom. It should be Gwen Stacy's channel. She gets more views than I. She gets more views whenever she's on it. She actually gets more views than I do. So I should have her just do a live stream with me and sit at the camera and talk the whole time. So
yeah, she's really cute. That's cool that you do that with her and you involve her like that. Yeah, I haven't seen that either. So that's especially at that young of an age. Does she does she naturally just do that with the figures, or did you kind of tell her like
no? I literally let her do whatever she wants to do. So it's just really funny because the Lando, what ticks, I'll be very G-rated. What gets me very mad about the Lando is the cape. It just is not. It just doesn't. I was talking to, last night when I was talking about it, I said the same thing on the stream. I said this Lando was she just picked the one figure that aggravates the most out of me, because the cape, it just doesn't work well. It's stiff. It looks like wings that are opened up. It just doesn't look good to me. And I bought it honestly out of FOMO, because I thought that it would be a figure, because it was a one-off figure, that it would kind of sell out. And I thought I saw a trend where figures that are made as a one-off, that are just a one version, usually kind of sell. So and it was Empire Strikes Back. It was the first time Lando. I honestly thought it would sell out, so I grabbed it. And I'm really hoping that they do a Han Solo or Leia reissue or something like that from Empire, so I could pair it, because right now the problem is he sticks out like a sore thumb. I don't have anything to pair him with. So when she grabbed that figure, I'm thinking, oh, this is gonna be fun. It's the one that I hate the most. And yeah, she put it on the table and she opened the cape up, and I made that comment. I was like, yeah, the cape sucks. And she just fell over and she walked away. I'm like, yeah, that's how I feel about it.
She's like, I'm over it.
I couldn't have videoed that better. But she does whatever she wants, and I don't let her. I don't edit anything.
Yeah, that's cool. It's kind of. No, sorry. Go ahead, Steve.
Oh, does that cape not have wires in it?
No, it doesn't, and it's stiff. It's just stiff. There's no wires to it, and it's just very thick. It's beautiful to look at. Like when you feel it, it's really well done, but there's no wires, and it's just really stiff. And I've had people say, if like iron it and steam it, I'm not doing that. It'll just be as is. But there's no manipulation to it. You can't do anything with it. So it's very, it's what it is.
Yeah.
Chalk it up to a loss right now.
Yeah. Yeah, we've all had those. Going back to what you were saying about your wife kind of being more, cautious with your figures. Is it kind of funny that they're obviously yours and you know how much you paid for them, but you're kind of more like lax with them with your daughter, not even playing, but your wife is more like, she wants to be more careful and, hey, what are you doing?
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, I mean, I think she's being more open to it now. I mean, I remember we had, I was very worried about it in the beginning. The thing about it is that like when you have a kid, I know for me at least, the channel and everything that I'm doing, this is what it is in the sense of, I'm a father first, a husband second, and I said even my dogs come before my needs. And then there's Hot Toys. Like if I had to sell them all tomorrow, I'd sell them all tomorrow. I love them, but there's other things that are far more important than what it is. You know what I mean? And if I had to get rid of them for reasons that were more important, so be it. I always told my wife that they'll be the first thing I'll start selling them off if you ever needed that done. But when she was born, and even as she's getting older, I should say, it's I can't be inclusive. I can't, like right now my door's closed because she's taking care, but I really can't shut her out from what I'm doing because I'm either taking care of her, I'm doing something, so she's involved one way or another. And I used to be very selfish. Like everything's mine, everything's in the room, close the door, like a 40-year-old virgin kind of thing where, in the movie, everything's dusted. Like that's how it was.
Right, yeah.
But, as she came in, I kind of saw the intrigue in it. I couldn't deny that because I knew that's how it was as a kid. And I don't want to be that father where it's like, don't touch that. It's behind a glass case, don't touch it. I mean, and, I open it up and she can have at it forever she wants. So, and maybe I arranged my figures. The more important ones are at the top that she can't get to. So, as she gets older, like that General Grievous right there, if she touches that thing, it'll fall apart. So I keep her away from that. But
Gotcha.
but her expression is priceless. I can't. She's got me wrapped around her finger. I can't say no to her.
Do you let her in there when you're not there, or do you have a rule where she doesn't?
No,
go
the
in
door. I mean,
when
she doesn't come in. I'm with her. Yeah, she doesn't come in
okay.
without me. So I mean, she doesn't.
Okay.
Like if I'm with her, if I take her upstairs, her room's right across the hall, so she's downstairs most of the time. But if she's upstairs, she might run in, and I'll be in there with her, and she'll run around. I have so many things that you can't even see behind me. I have guitars, and I have, she plays with. I don't know if you guys saw the video of that. My Proton pack that I have.
Yeah.
That's
when you turn it on,
size, so I have it taken apart, but she'll play with that. I have guitars all over there. So there's more than enough than just Hot Toys that she plays with. So she plays with anything that she sees or she's curious about. So, but she's very respectful, I will say. She's respectful for her age.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, for me, I only let my kids come in my room when I'm in here. They're older, and this was kind of some of like I didn't realize until afterwards, after I asked you guys to be on the show, that we cover different. Our kids cover different age ranges, right? We're doing the different extremes. Steve's kids are older and they're off to college, and then you and I, Ryan, our kids are younger, right? So obviously your daughter's toddler age, and my kids are a little bit older, 5 and 8. And so it's cool that having you both on here, we're giving these different perspectives on our kids on different time frames, or age ranges, I should say. But real quick, let me just get this chat here. Of course, gotta always shout out the chat. Riley, hey, I'm sure he's probably gone. He just popped in to say hi. If you catch us on the replay, thanks for stopping by, man. Always appreciate your support. Let's see here. My guy, Do Plenty, thank you again, man. Thanks for showing up. Thanks for supporting. Appreciate you. Let's see here. We got Commander Green. My kids are scared of my Hot Toys. My son is 18 and he has his own collectibles, but he's always timid around my things. Yeah, I think my kids are the same way right now, because I kind of, like I mentioned before, I'm kind of careful with my things growing up, and I was, like Steve mentioned earlier, taking care of them, making sure they're okay. And ultimately that's how they last, right? Because we take care of our things, they last longer. So I think I've kind of unintentionally instilled in my kids, just probably them seeing how I am with my stuff, and then kind of telling them to be careful with certain things. So. But you kind of inspired me there a little bit, Ryan, to have my kids at least kind of experiment with the Hot Toys. Maybe start them off with the ones that I'm not really too fond of. I don't mind if something happens to it, but
Yeah, like taking a Boba Fett arena out into the dirt.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. You guys, I'm sure you guys seen that Sideshow commercial where that one guy comes out and his kid's playing with his Hot Toys in the sandbox. Yeah. That it was just like. It came out on Halloween too, right? It's like the whole nightmare, that commercial. Yeah, so I
That
got to
would give
kind
me
of
a panic attack.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So I think little motivation for me to kind of let my kids explore a little more and become familiar with the hot toys. So that for that. So
But
oh, go ahead, Steve.
oh, just one of the things I used to do when my kids were younger is like I would have, my toys out, my figures and stuff, and be assembling or posing, doing whatever on the kitchen table, and they would have their toys out, building their Legos or, doing whatever they're doing. And so we still kind of have our own space, but we're together and we're sharing in that moment, and we're like, oh, check this out. And they're like, check this out, and stuff. And so I remember those times, and those were pretty special to me. So I think there's all kinds of different ways to get the kids involved. Even if you're kind of protective, if something's kind of worth a lot and you're worried about, the little, on Cody, like that little antenna, you just look at that funny and it might break
Yeah.
off. And so, yeah, I would do things like that. And those created some really great memories. And I have great photos and stuff. So,
Yeah, that's awesome. That's
I
kind
mean,
of what it's
I
about,
think
right?
I think that's what it is for me too, is because it's not just hot toys. Like, I mean, I see behind you, BZ, you got a bunch of stuff behind you. I mean, I collect a lot of stuff. I mean, it's not, my walls aren't filled with things, but like, I can reach for anything right now. Like, just example, I have, my Ghostbusters Hasbro wand here.
Oh yeah.
So
Let
like
me
my
get you.
daughter, she'll just sit there and she plays with this too.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for the what is it, the HasLab pack, the Proton pack that they did, the Kickstarter.
Oh yeah.
So I have that. I'm waiting for that. So she'll play with that. You know what I mean? So she comes in here. So there's so much stuff that I have that's not just hot toys. So I think that's where I find the balance, is that she's not just coming in here for that. She might come here, look at something. And there's been times when I open up the cases and kind of egg her, go touch a hot toy because I need to film a video. Like that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
having variety always helps too. So
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I think that's one thing I touched on again in my intro. Like, I collect a bunch of things, right? I still do. I don't just focus on hot toys. I basically anything that I have an interest in, that I love, that I like. Which is ended up being a lot that I collect. And so yeah, same. I have. There's certain toys that my kids want, right? Obviously they want toys, and so I buy them certain things, and I kind of play with, like you were saying, Steve. I kind of play with them in that sense. Or sometimes they'll come in my man cave here, my paradise. And we'll play, or we'll do certain things together, like while I'm doing something. I have my retro games in here too. I have my old like a Super Nintendo, or if you saw, I have an arcade in here from my last stream.
Nice.
And the NES Classic, the ones that came out, what has like 8 games. Yeah, I have like that, and the SNES Classic. So sometimes when it's not cluttered, they'll come in here and they'll play, and I'll be doing something here with my figures on the table. And so it's just kind of cool to see them play the original Mario Brothers, although it doesn't last long because they kind of lose interest. But stuff like that, yeah, I incorporate them in there and here. And but again, only when I'm on here, right? When I'm not here, then out of bounds, off limits. All right, so with that, going on to the next topic here, which is one of the reasons why, again, I created this show. One of the important factors, balancing our hobby with family and life, right? It's obviously we deal with it on a day-to-day, and it's pretty important. So, Ryan, we'll go ahead and start with you. How do you balance your hobby with work and family and everything else you got going on?
The hobby comes third or fourth. You have work, which pays the bills. After work, you come home, it's family. After all that, then it's the hobby. So the hobby, that's kind of where the precedent is. When I started collecting hot toys, like I said, I've always collected stuff, but hot toys, that's a different realm for me, because a lot of the stuff I collect, they're not around as often. Ghostbusters, Back to the Future, things like that. Those things, they're not making those kind of products as much anymore. So hot toys is really the focal thing for me. And so that's something that's always going to be there and always what I'm doing. But yeah, it's really hard I shouldn't say it's hard. It's easy for me to balance it because I just know where it stands. It is a little hard now because of the content creation side of stuff. Finding time to film stuff And if I'm not filming, I'm doing photos. Like today, just as an example, because it's the weekend, my wife sometimes works on weekends, but she went food shopping. My daughter went to sleep around 12 o'clock. She sleeps from 12 to 3. Daddy was outside in the dirt photographing a $600 figure. That's my neighbors think I'm nuts because they see me laying in the dirt photographing a $600 figure.
Yeah.
But when I post those photos, they'll look amazing. Yeah, but when I post those photos later, they'll look amazing though. But like that's kind of where I find the time, and it's kind of picking and choosing your battles. The hobby itself, I mean, what's funny is that I don't want to make it sound overly simplistic, but I mean, the figures aren't like they require a lot of maintenance. You get them, you check them out, you do your thing,
Yeah.
you put them in the cabinet, and that's kind of it. And
Yeah.
so, like, it was always easy to balance them. I don't really crazy pose my figures that often, so it's not like I see guys, which all due respect to people like posing with Peter, which is fantastic, like make a passion out of posing their figures, which takes time. I'm not the greatest poser, so that's awesome. That's like their thing. Me, as you can see, a lot of them are museum pose, maybe slight posing, but it's very easy. But the content creation side of it, ever since I started doing that definitely requires navigating through my day to day. So I try to plan everything out where if I'm not filming video, I'm making sure that I'm taking photographs for Instagram to keep relevant there, or staying in the chats and stuff like that, talking to people, engaging, being personable, talking to people, which as Steve touched on, I followed the chats for 2 years, but I was never very vocal. I would stream and watch the streams, but I would never interact with people. And now, the community is so fantastic, just talking to people, and I've gotten nothing but support from everybody who don't even know me. They know by Mr. Mom, which is like, oh, Mr. Mom, yeah. And I've had a nice following of people that have reached out who are parents who are inspired by what I did, and it really means a lot. But it takes a lot of planning to figure some stuff out. The hot toy side of it's easy, but for the content creation that goes into it, that does take planning and figuring out. Like you said, you do this on the weekends because that's when you can. But trying to find time, and my wife is supporting of that. Like she made, when we started the stream, she was doing dinner, feeding my daughter, doing all that stuff for her, which I normally would be helping her, but she's supporting me in doing what I'm doing now. So that's why, I got the pass tonight to be able to sit here and talk toys while she's, taking care of everything downstairs. But yeah, it's easy and it's not. You got to pick and choose your battles, so to speak.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thanks, Mrs. Mom, for covering for Ryan for us.
There you go.
Give her applause. An applause. All right, Steve, how about you? I know with everything going on, I know you mentioned that your kids are older, so maybe it's a little easier for you, or maybe not. I'm just probably assuming there. But how do you balance your hobby and work, family, just everything going on?
Yeah, it's definitely easier now with the kids being older, but kind of reflecting back to when I started collecting 6-scale figures, I remember this moment. My good buddy Chad turned me on to these 6-scale figures. They were these modern military guys, and I don't know if anybody remembers this, but there's this company called Blue Box Toys, and they had a product line called Elite Force. And at the time, he turned me on to them. I'm like, holy crap, they're so detailed. I couldn't believe it. Of course, you compare it to like this now, and you kind of laugh. And they were $35. And so I remember going to my wife about 20 years ago saying, can I get this toy? It's this action figure and it's like 12 inches. It's $35. And she was like, yeah. And so I got it. And then at the time we lived in West LA, there was this toy store at one of the malls by us. And they had, at the back of the store, they had a bunch of them. So every time we'd go to the mall, I would ask, oh, can I get one? And, sometimes she'd say yes. And sometimes, maybe we just had some other things going on. It wasn't a good time financially to invest $30, $40 to get them. And so we'd always, just talk about it and stuff.
Yeah.
Then over the years, of course, they get more and more expensive. And now they're, 10 times that. Now, I don't have to ask her, but what I do is I budget, and it's similar to Ryan's spreadsheet. It's all colorful and keeping track of stuff, and I've been doing that since 2017, and I don't dare show that sheet to my wife because it has everything I bought, in the past 5 years. But at the beginning of the year, I just kind of set a budget and stuff, and every month, I have a little bit of overflow money for those spontaneous purchases and stuff, and as long as I can balance that out and give my family the things they deserve, like family vacations to Hawaii, or we're going to go to Disney World, things like that. It's just I feel that is fair, and my wife's very supportive. I don't get the stink eye when the big sideshow box shows up at the front door. Like the Mark V just showed up earlier this week. I think we were chatting about it and stuff. And she doesn't care because we balance those things, and we could joke about it too and stuff. And so I would say the biggest challenge, throughout this has been just balancing the financial aspect of it. Time-wise, it's similar to what Ryan was saying, is family, work, and then if I have some leftover time and energy, time for the toys. If I don't, that's okay. I can mess with them next week. And usually that's what I do. It's usually just a weekend thing for me. I mean, I would love to do it during the week, but during the week, it's usually at work. And then my wife and I and, the kids, or we'll eat dinner, we'll watch some TV, and then I'll go to bed. Maybe watch a stream or something, and then kind of go to bed. So I kind of save all my toy time usually for the weekend and stuff. And to be honest, I think it gives my wife a little break from me too. I kind of go off in my space and do things, and she can go enjoy doing her things, and we get little breaks, and then we can come back together and go out to dinner or go watch a movie. So yeah, it's I would say that's kind of the key for me. I did bring a prop I wanted to show.
Oh, okay.
And so this was in 2010, I think. My wife, being supportive, bought me this dude. It's a hot toy from Assassin's Creed.
Oh yeah, is that
and so this is one of
it?
Ezio. Yep.
Ezio, yeah, there you go. Yeah.
And the reason I wanted to show this is really two reasons. One is it just ties in with the topic about balancing, work and, life and family and hobbies and stuff, but also to show, the family supportive, and they buy me things, for Christmas and stuff. And so it's great. But the other reason I wanted to talk about it is to show the evolution of hot toys. I've been collecting these things for all the time. This is not my first hot toy, but it's my first hot toy where I was like, holy crap, I really see a massive jump in evolution of quality. And you won't really be able to see it on camera, but just the details and kind of like the little pieces and his head sculpt and stuff was just amazing. And I feel like we're seeing that now with Hot Toys going through a new transformation where some of their head sculpts and the hair and stuff is just like, wow, just leaps and bounds ahead of what they were doing just 2 years ago. So I just kind of wanted to share that and kind of talk through that. So I can thank my wife for introducing me to that evolution about 10 years ago. Actually, 12 years ago.
I never got a hot toy. I never got a hot toy for my wife yet, so I guess that's the pinnacle. So
dude, Christmas is coming up.
Wink, wink.
I know. I try to wink, but well, let me ask you, because like I said, I don't mean to chime in, but with the whole streaming thing, I need a new camera for my photography, and I'm going to because I'm using a web camera right now that I'm not satisfied with. So, and she's actually allowing me, which I'm very shocked about. I actually looked at getting a new Canon camera. It's a good chunk of money right now, and she actually supported me in buying it, which is I'm quite shocked. So I'll take that over the hot toy, because that's probably worth about 2 hot toys, if not 3. So I'll take the support for the camera over the hot toys. But yeah, my wife hasn't gotten me anything yet, which I guess that reaches the pinnacle when she buys me something.
Yeah.
Maybe she's holding it out.
I'll drop a hint, and because Christmas is coming up and stuff.
I'll send her her Facebook page to you and my list of toys that are on my hit list, and we'll
So
see.
there you go. I sent my wife 10% sideshow coupon.
Yeah.
I'm like, just in case, and and here's my wish list.
That's funny.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny you guys mentioned that because, yeah, my wife hasn't bought me any Hot Toys either. She's bought me some figures, but to kind of piggyback on that, I was thinking about this earlier. Obviously when we're younger, our parents buy us our figures. We ask us to buy us certain things, and for my birthday was last month, and every year before Christmas and my birthday, I shout out to all the Libras, by the way, October birthdays. I put together an Amazon wish list, right? So I try to do whatever's the easiest for others. So usually my mom, my sister, and my wife, and I had all the figures on there, and they're not Hot Toys, obviously, because I'm kind of like I'll get those on my own, just because they're expensive. And I'm kind of particular, right? I'm selective with what I want, and so I usually put smaller, the 6-inch scales, the 1/12 scale ones, the Marvel Legends, the Black Series, something along those lines. I'll put on my list. And so my mom asked me for my list, and it's just kind of funny because she was like, I sent her the list, and she's kind of picking through those, and I kind of feel like, hey mom, buy me this. Can you buy me this? And it's like the cycle went back, right? I was younger, but now I'm older, and I'm asking her to buy me toys still.
Nice.
And it's just funny. So yeah, my wife, I kind of do the same thing. Like, here's my wish list. If you want to get me something, you don't have to, because I get enough for myself throughout the year, right? So I'm not expecting anything for any of those 2 days.
Yep.
So
I get Sideshow gift cards for Christmas. That's what I get, which I'll gladly accept. Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yep, that's always a good.
Well, that's
one
what
too,
happens
yeah.
is that her whole side of the family, it'll turn into Christmas. They'll usually do like I don't know, what is it, like we exchange names in a hat, so somebody gets something. And usually for me, they'll ask my wife, like, what does Ryan want? And I'll just say, give me a Sideshow gift card for whatever you want to do. So because I have so many pre-orders, it's like you said, it's selective. It's not like you can get.
Yeah.
I can get my wife jewelry, or I know things that I'm going to get her for Christmas that she wants, but for Hot Toys, or just collecting, it's not to be anything, and it's not to be rude, but it's a curated collection, so I have stuff, and also
Right.
I don't want to show my wife my pre-order list because she might have a heart attack, so I refuse to show her my list.
Yeah, same.
So.
Yeah.
Because she said before, like, oh, what do you have on order? Maybe I'll pay it off for you. I was like, no, that's okay. I'll wait.
Yeah,
I don't want her.
Yeah, you don't want
to see what I have. Yeah, she'll kill me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
you brought up a good point of you mentioned you get yourself enough stuff throughout the year. I feel the exact same way, so I never have expectations.
I never ask for anything. Yeah, I treat myself.
Yeah.
Like you said, Steve. I squeeze the Hot Toy in, make sure things are good. I mean, I don't ask for anything. I mean, there's always shirts or clothes or stuff that I like, but when it comes to it's not important to me. I'd rather give than get, because I get all year, so I would rather give, so to speak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I like to spoil when Christmas comes around, spoil the family.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. Sounds like we're all on the same page on that one. Just to touch on the aspect for me of balancing, and you guys brought on something that that I know it's not a lot of people talk about, again, like other YouTubers, other people, content creators, or maybe I haven't found, I haven't seen them all, obviously there's so many, but the time element, right? I think for me that's really huge, and I agree with both of you that, of course, family responsibilities, adulting, basically, that comes first, family adulting, and then hobby, collecting figures, that all comes when there's free time. But the thing is, as you all know, and for those watching who have some sort of family situation, responsibilities, time get up to a certain point, it gets limited, right? And I haven't really seen that emphasized enough, and I've heard people say they kind of pass over it, like, yeah, there's like not enough time. But it's just like, for me, I'm at a point where time is really limited. I kind of value that more than anything else right now, as far as a resource, right? Because money, yeah, there's times where money can be tight, situations hard, but you can always make money. Time, once that's gone, it's like that's gone. You can't get that back. And so, and I understand there's different perspectives, right? When we're younger, we kind of take it for granted because we feel, obviously we're young, we have so much time, we sleep in, we do all this stuff, and I've been there, I've done that, gotten out late, like got less sleep, or I slept in till 12 to noon or something. I'm sure we've all been there. But as we get older, there's a certain point where you kind of value time more, you see time differently. And yeah, right. And now I do anything I can to shave off whatever time I have. And it's funny, I kind of going on here to, let's see here, do Plenty's comment here. What's your go-to site for collectibles, entertainment, Earth site, show collectibles, eBay? So there's a lot of different, to kind of touch on this, I know we all have our preferences, and maybe we'll go on that in the next topic, but one of the main things that I look for is time. I know in some other streams they talk about the three things that that you look for is speed, price, and customer service, or maybe if you want to swap that out with quality. But yeah, there's for me, I kind of look at what's going to save me time and headache, right? Because for me personally, I don't need to have something else to worry about in my life, right? So it's one less thing that I have to worry about is good for me. And I know some people, obviously there's like the whole Toys Wonderland debate, and I know price, there's really competitive. So, and I understand that, but yeah, for me, I personally went with them twice. I've had some issues both times, and that was enough to kind of steer me away. Fortunately, I either got a refund or I got my figure, but I don't want to have to spend that additional time to follow up and check in my order and, keep sending them emails. Yeah, they're just emails, but the fact that I have to, like check up on them, and I'm basically kind of doing their job for them, which is, I personally don't need. I know some people have the patience for that and they can do that, but that's just an example, like when I go look for retailers or where to buy my figures, I weigh that heavily. Obviously, if I can get it at a good price, but I'm not willing to sacrifice the price like really cheap for something that may take me a while, or I'm gonna have issues, right? So that's just, I know we as collectors, we have to balance those two things, and it's really important. And for every person it's different, right? I know there's always that debate of price and speed and quality and customer service, and so but for me personally, I value the time and the headache, and I just don't want to have to add that to something else I have to worry about in my life, right? I have too much stuff going on already as it is, and so that's just my take. And it's kind of like like Forrest Gump says, when he ended up getting rich, he was like, well, that's good, one less thing. So one less thing I have to worry about is just what I'm all about. But yeah, you guys have anything to add to that, to touch on that?
Well, I know for me, in terms of where I get my figures from, it depends on it is based on my needs and my lifestyle needs. So for me personally, I very rarely buy Hot Toys at full price, meaning like I just pay for it up front. Sometimes I just can't afford it, not meaning that I'm broke, but like Steve said, budgetary reasons. I have a very, obviously I made a YouTube video about it in terms of budgeting. I have an Excel sheet that tracks all my pre-orders, and I cap myself how much money a month I'm willing to spend on Hot Toys. Obviously I exceed that, but that being said, I live and die by payment plans for certain figures, especially the more expensive ones, like just off the top of my head, like the new RoboCop that came out for RoboCop 3 that was announced, or literally any Iron Man figure that's not a Tony Stark, that's all die cast. Those are $400 or $500 figures. So I know a lot of people will chase the discount, and don't get me wrong, if I can grab one like the Golden Armor Wonder Woman, got it 35% off, got it for a crazy deal for the deluxe, and thanks to Insane One for hooking me up, I was able to get today a Return of the Jedi Scout Trooper. He threw me a discount code that he had. I got that with points. I got it for $95 out the door.
Oh,
total.
nice.
So it's just a figure only. It was a figure only because where I live, behind me there's like a creek with woods and stuff, and so I really wanted that Scout Trooper with the sniper rifle because I think I can get some really good photography shots with that, like in the in the leaves and stuff like that. So like I bought that, but I had used points and stuff like that, so that's a deal. But I use Sideshow primarily because of the payment plan system, and sometimes I'll trade a discount for a payment. And a very good example, and then I'll pass it to Steve, is the DeLorean that's coming out. Right now that DeLorean is like $800, and I think I pre-ordered day one. That was coming home. That was a given. But I think I have that on eight installment plans, so 8's the max. But as the time goes and people let it sit, yeah, there could be a coupon that you throw on it. I think then you dwindle down the amount of time, like payment plan options you have. Like it might go from 8 down to 4, it might go from 8 down to 3. And so for me, I need those 8 months to pay that. I think it's $100 for 8 months. I need that for me to pay that off, to budget that.
Yeah.
So I'll trade that for a 20% coupon or free shipping. I'll trade that. To me, that's fine. So that's why I go Sideshow 99% of the time. But I do buy some third parties from like TNS Figures, 1/6 figure kit, things like that, some third parties. But for me, it's pretty much Sideshow. Customer service is fine. Haven't done me wrong. I'm not a support. I'm not like saying I'm Urot Sideshow. It's just it works for my situation personally.
Yeah. No. Yeah, and that can change, right? It's just it can vary from week per month. It's just whatever your situation is. There's multiple retailers out there. So to answer your question, do plenty real quick. I actually use all of those for different scales, different figures, right? It just depends. I kind of whoever has the best price at the time. Narrow down to who offers great customer service. I know BBTS, Entertainment Earth, Sideshow, they all have great service. Pop Culture, 1/6 kit I've also bought from their Seattle. So there's multiple out there. And so I kind of, shop around, see whoever meets all the criteria that I'm looking for at the time that I'm buying the figure and go with that. But I can hit you up afterwards and let you know specifically if you're interested. But Steve, how about you? You want to add on to the whole time topic that I brought up, or to what as far as where you shop?
Shopping wise, a lot of it's at Sideshow for a lot of the reasons that Mr. Mom mentioned, payment plans, and I think you can even skip a month if you want to. You can go in and specify the day of the month to, that you want it to come out, so you don't have them, sucked out of your account, on the same day. You can, push 5-10 days out. You can also pay them off early. And the Sideshow is in Southern California, and so usually when they ship it, I get the next day, maybe 2 days later. So that's nice.
I know. You get your email notification, and then an hour later they're knocking at your door. You're like, Sideshow delivery. I don't know why they sell those tiny, but
I get the email notification, then literally a week and a half later I get the figure.
Oh, wow. It's got to go all the way across the country for you, though, right?
Yeah, but the thing about it, which doesn't make sense for me, is that when I track it, if I order a figure, and let's just say it's quote-unquote shipped on a Monday, right? It'll tell me that I'll get it by Friday. But what's wild, and I don't understand, because I get it through FedEx, so I don't know if it's different. The figure physically doesn't move until the day before I get it. So from like those 4 days, it just sits, which is really weird to me. It's really strange every time it does that. So like I said, I'll get shipping tracking notification, like let's say Monday, oh yeah, your figure is shipped or ready to be shipped. It doesn't physically move from the West Coast to the East Coast, and it goes like overnight, which makes no sense to me. And then I get the figure the next day. So that's what's so wild to me. Wild.
Back in the day, we were chatting about this. Back in the day, they used to have local pickup. So I'd actually drive to Sideshow, pick up my figure, and they had like a little showroom and stuff. But unfortunately, I don't think they have that anymore. Otherwise, I would totally do that.
Yeah.
Do they have
Sideshow, and there's some other retailers, Time Walker Toys, Monkey Depot, 1/6 Kit, some of these other ones. So it kind of depends. Usually pre-orders, I just go to Sideshow, and I love their 5% reward points you get and stuff like that. But if I'm wanting some spontaneous purchase, I got to have, whatever, then I'll shop around to some of those sites I just mentioned and see who has the best deal, and then buy it from them.
Yeah, the customer service, touching back on that, is just, something, again, kind of, I don't want to have to, if I have an issue or it's just something's going on, I don't want to have to worry about any of that. Or if I know they take care of me, just that peace of mind, right? Everyone says peace of mind, and one less thing for me to worry about, right? So I don't even want to have to deal with any other troubles or issues. Or if I do have a figure that's damaged, they just take care of, they replace or whatever. So a lot of good experience.
Yeah, there's a lot of value with that. So I got the Rise of Skywalker, Rey and Dio, that figure from Sideshow, and I got it, and it's in the typical kind of black Star Wars box with the character art is like a card stock that's kind of wrapped around it, and it was bent, and so kind of Rey, and I just not a huge deal, but I thought, I'll just contact Sideshow, see what they say.
Yeah.
And they just sent me a brand new art box.
Yep.
I was like, oh, and I got it like a couple
Yeah.
days later. I was like, wow,
Yep. Same.
okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Isn't that awesome? Yeah. I read on their website too. For those you don't know, it does say on there that they put some boxes aside, and of course you have to send them the email and photos, and to see like, and it can't have like a ding or like a tiny bend. It has to be like pretty damaged or dented or crushed, I should say. It says on there what their specifications are. But yeah, same. I emailed them because I got one of my art boxes was crushed. Like even outside the box when I got it, you can tell the corner was already crushed in. I was like, oh man, it's not going to be good. And I opened it up, and sure enough, yeah, the art box and stuff was crushed. So I emailed them, and yeah, they sent me a replacement. It was awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that type of customer service speaks volumes for me.
Yeah, same. Yeah, like I said,
I actually got a free figure from Sideshow's customer service because of that, from an accidental
Whoa.
shipping issue. Yeah, I ordered the last Christmas. I ordered the 40th anniversary Darth Vader from Empire Strikes Back.
Oh, yeah.
And I ordered it. FedEx shipped it. Now the thing about me, I live in New Jersey, and I live on a state highway. And what's really weird about me is that if you drive half a mile down the road, it actually turns into, my address is, I'll say it's 33, and the highway, I live on a highway 33, let's just put it that way. I don't care what people say. But if you drive a half a mile down the road, it turns into a different part of the road, but a whole new setup. There's another house that has my same exact address. It's a half a mile down the road, but it's a different town. It's really weird. And
I
so
see.
it's a different town, but it's literally on the same road. I've never seen that before. It's not like you make a left and you're in a different. That you stay straight down the road, and after about half a mile, there's another house with the same number as me. And so when FedEx delivered the house is no longer there. They knocked it down, but I had packages that would randomly get delivered there by accident. And so FedEx delivered my Darth Vader, and I thought they delivered it to my house, and it wasn't there. And I got the tracking saying your package was delivered, and I opened my door, it wasn't there. So I contacted Sideshow. They opened up a claim with FedEx, and they literally were like, we'll ship you out another figure. I was like, oh, same day they shipped me out another one. I said, well, what about, don't worry about it. We'll get it back, through FedEx, I guess. And then the neighbor or the person from that house called me the next day and said, hey, I got your package here. So I had two Vaders, and I called them up, and they honestly, I must have just got the right person on the phone and said, "Don't worry about it. Like it was just an issue. They'll get reimbursed because they'll get compensated through FedEx as quote unquote a lost, package or whatnot."
Exactly.
I had two Vaders, so I put it up on one of the trade groups. I sold it for, I think I sold it below retail because it was just a 100% profit for me. So I sold it below what the cost was of the figure on the website. So I sold it for free shipping and everything. So
yeah. That's your is that your Mirrorverse self? Your neighbor with the same address? It's like the shaved version of Ryan, and he has a son, a daughter.
A 90. Well, like I said, it was a 90-year-old man, so it was a completely different, different version. But the house is no longer there. They sold the house off, and they knocked down for the property. They knocked down the house for the property, so we don't have that issue anymore. But it was crazy how I had some packages go to that address, and that was the one time Sideshow was like, "Don't worry about it," because I said it sounds like a scam. Hey, I didn't get my package or whatnot, but they sent it out. They sent it out that same day with tracking, and I was like, "Wow,
that's awesome."
Very impressed.
Yeah, that always scares me, right? I'm always anxious. I'm sure we all do. Anxiously track our packages, not because I'm in a hurry to get it, just because I'm worried something might happen to it. And I actually just recently I had a package say delivered, and so I go downstairs to check. Dun dun dun. It's not there. Oh man, my heart starts racing. I'm like, oh great, here we go. And so I start double checking other things, doing research online, and then later on. My neighbor next door knocks on my door, and she was like, "Here you go." She's handing me the package, and I was like, "Oh, yeah, I kind of." It was like, it was a pretty pricey item. So yeah, it was, and I've had that happen, right? There's like boxes, but to Ryan's point, sometimes you don't know. It's not our fault. Right? It's like the delivery person delivers somewhere else, wrong address. Even with the right address, for some reason they're just not paying attention. It gets delivered somewhere else. I've had. My neighbors across the street also get some of my packages, or I've gotten their packages. I'll just go drop them off. One time, I got similar situation. I got a package with the same number address, right? So it's the number of my house, but it was a different street. And so I was like, "What the heck? This isn't me." And I just Googled, and it was like a few blocks over. So I just went over there and drove it and dropped it off. Yeah, so it's, I mean, it happens, right? It's just like, with the really crappy part is when it doesn't turn up and you're just like AOL or SOL, AOL. What
I
is it?
had
Instant
DTOFs
Messenger?
delivered. I had DTOFs delivered to the wrong address. I remember
Oh,
I
that's
ordered
right.
two DTOFs. I had DTOFs ordered from IKEA, and it wasn't. I couldn't go get them because I was watching my daughter. I couldn't go, and
Yeah.
IKEA makes you pick up same day. You can't order and pick up next day, and so yeah, and they delivered them to the wrong address, same house, and the guy signed for the delivery driver signed for two of my DTOFs, my name, and dropped them off on the guy's house, and I had to drive down and pick them up. So it's like, I don't
Wait,
know.
so he contacted you, or how'd you know they were there?
I just assumed. I learned after that. That was
I
like
got you.
that was after the Darth Vader incident. So I learned after that
Oh,
when I realized that
gotcha.
they were
Yeah.
delivered, and DTOF, they're pretty they're pretty recognizable in terms of their packaging. So I just drove down to the house and I saw them. I saw 4 boxes leaning against the guy's side of the house, and I just walked up and I took them. So he wasn't home, so I just took them myself. Took my package.
Yeah.
I paid for
You felt
delivery,
kinda
and
weird.
yeah, I got my delivery fee refunded, but it's still.
Yeah, yeah, but I've had that happen also where I've got to keep things. Again, customer service is awesome. I ended up getting a lot of multiple things, right? Sometimes not the right figure I wanted, or just because it turning up later. Yeah, or I reported some sort of damage, and they're like, you can just keep it. And so that's, yeah, like Insane One mentioned, sometimes that peace of mind can outweigh anything else. And sometimes, obviously we're not trying to get free things out of it, but the retailers who provide that great customer service, they kind of just benefit from it. And sometimes we pay for that too, right? So I don't mind paying a little more for that peace of mind, to have that time security, right? That time that I don't have to invest in something else to take care of is valuable for me personally. So I know everyone's different, but yeah. So I think we talked about that enough. Going on to the next one here. Next topic, kind of similar along those similar lines. We kind of touched on this before, but and I know Mr. Mom, you obviously made a video on this that touches on this, so we'll go ahead and start with you on this. How do you budget for your hobby? Anything else outside of that video, or maybe you want to, I don't know if you want to kind of touch on some of the things you said in your video, but how do you budget for your hobby and your family and life and everything else going on?
Sorry about that.
Take your time.
I had a budget out of necessity, as I touched on, through that, and then the other video which I made, which was 10 tips that I wish I would have given myself when I started collecting. And the budget and space actually really did it for me. Budget and space, budget one, space second. They kind of went hand in hand, but I would say the budgeting was first, where I got really out of hand with all the pre-ordering. It's really easy to drop a $30 non-refundable deposit and then think about it a few months back, down the road when the payments start rolling in. So I had to cut back on a lot of stuff, and I spent a lot of money on lost deposits. I will say that very much up front, but like, it's kind of like I cut the fat up front just to kind of better peace of mind for the future. So what it was really the budgeting thing, like I said, went hand in hand with space. And because this room, I have limited space, and when I started collecting, I was buying everything that I saw. I liked it, I saw it, I bought it. Just that in order. Boom, boom, boom. And things were starting to add up. And then I was like, well, I got this room in here. Where's everything gonna fit? And then I started doing the DTOFs and things like that. And then I started curating my collection better and realizing certain things just don't vibe well together or jive well together. Certain figures. And so, and that was one thing that made me budget as well for figures and be very selective. But financially, I mean, like I said, I made the separate video about it. It was the spreadsheet. I think I was watching watching the streams too helped. I watch I don't want to people we watch, but I watch Geeking Out, I watch Denobi, and those are collectors that have been in the game for a while. And I watch a lot of other people, Six Scale Mafia. I just watch a lot of everything and absorb a lot of there's everybody that's out there, there's nobody giving wrong advice, but you have to take it with a grain of salt, and how does it apply to you? And so, I don't get caught up into like what other people are buying and things like that. But the budgeting thing really kind of made me sit down and think about my pre-orders, and that's what I did. I wrote them all out on an Excel sheet, and that's when I looked at them and I'm like, whoa. Because I know Sideshow has like a calendar that shows you what your orders are, but it's not helpful. Okay. It's not. It just shows you like dates of when orders are. But when you see a number that what you owe at the end of every month, you owe $400 in payments, that's where okay, I got to straighten some stuff out, or I got to figure out what's going on here. So that's what I did. I listed all my figures, and I put them out there, and I just started deleting, canceling figures. And I know, it's taboo and, losing deposits, but it helped me out. That was money that I was willing to lose to figure my stuff out, where I looked at figures and I'm pre-ordering stuff and I'm like, do I need this now? No, canceled it. Do I need, just an example, Vision from WandaVision, the Vision figure. I had it pre-ordered. Did I need it? No, it's probably gonna sit. I had it pre-ordered. I canceled it. Doctor Strange, there's like 3 of them out right now. Did I need it? Not right now. No, canceled it. I mean, those are ones I pre-ordered. Those are mistakes I made previously. Those are kind of like, Ryan 1.0 mistakes, and 2.0 is trying to clean them up. That's the best way to put it. And so I was willing to eat those deposits. Obviously, I don't do it again. But that's the way I did it. And then I put a number in my head, weighing my bills and everything. Like, what's a number I'm okay paying every month for Hot Toys? That's kind of like my baseline. And I set it at $300. And for $300, I could either have 3 figures where I owe $100 a month on, or I could have 3 figures that I owe $50 on, plus 1 I owe $70. Whatever that combination is to get me at $300, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Do I exceed it? 100%. But what that means to me is I'm not getting any more figures. Like, I could tell you guys right now without even knowing, June, July, and August of next year, I can't get anything, because those months, I know what I owe about $450 a month in payments to figures. I'm okay with that, but I know that I'm not pre-ordering anything because those months are red. They're like red on my spreadsheet, that go, can't touch those months. And what that also allows me to do is I pay stuff off faster. Like this month, I only have 1 figure. I'm going to start paying off figures in November. So I free up December. And to me, it's like, oh, it's Christmas. So that money is going to go toward Christmas. I'm not touching anything. And then January. So I'm always a step ahead. So that's how I budget. So I can look at my spreadsheet, look at it out, like lay it out, and I can see where I am. And whenever a figure comes up that I want to pre-order, I kind of figure out, like, where can I weasel it in? Can I, like the Golden Armor Wonder Woman, I was able to spontaneous purchase. There was a coupon, 35% off, whatever it was, free shipping. Could I figure that in? Yeah, I'm going to put that in there. I stuck that in and I pre-ordered that thing. Like I can weasel my way certain figures in there, but there's certain figures I know I'd love to pre-order. I just can't do it right now. So, but they'll come, I'll pre-order them down the road or something like that. But that's really what I do for the most part in terms of budgeting. And like I said, you plugged it. I made the video of it, and I think I put my template up there that people can download it and kind of play with it, do their own thing. And it's not perfect. It works for me. I mean, there's other people that are better at it that can figure out their own thing, but it changed me completely in my whole lifestyle of collecting, and it made, got me out of a bad place, or potentially what I would have been. I would have been burnt out, and so it saved me.
No, yeah, that's awesome. And thanks for doing that, by the way. I commented that, I don't have a spreadsheet that does it by month and like payment plan, like how much amount. So I might be using that. And I mean, if anything, it's a template, right? It's a base, and people can modify it. But I've been meaning to do that as well. As put my, I have a spreadsheet also. It's not as, as sophisticated as yours. It's pretty simple, just columns and rows. And if it's on a payment plan, I just indicate, I have a status column and just put payment plan on there. But I don't specify the amount. So maybe I should start doing that. But obviously, it kind of part of being financially responsible, right? You got to keep track of what you're buying. Obviously, if you have a couple, then it's not worth doing, but once you start building them up, the pre-orders and things coming in, especially if you're collecting different scales and different collectibles, it adds up. And also inventory is a good way to keep an inventory of everything you have, because if you have amassed a amount of a good collection like you two have, I'm sure you have more Hot Toys than I do. I'm like probably 90% sure you do, but it's good to kind of keep track of what you have and where it's at, and down the line, if you ever pass them to your kids or you end up selling them or whatever you want to do, you have that record, right, of what you have, what you owe, and how much you paid for it. So that all that information is what I have on mine. And so maybe I'll share that too. Just again, another template. It's just you can never have enough of those. If people want.
The thing about it is that not to jump in. At the end of the day, we're not millionaires. No one in this hobby. Last time I checked, nobody in the community is a millionaire. So we all work. We're all blue-collar guys working 9-to-5 jobs, or women for that matter, don't want to exclude. But we're all working 9-to-5 jobs for the most part. Yeah, there's a select few of people that make money off YouTube that, get figures. And I'm not calling anybody out specifically to bash. I mean, hey, listen, if a place said to me, hey, Ryan, we'll give you figures. I mean, all right, okay, I'll take them.
Yeah.
But There's very few people out there though that are getting all the figures for free. We're spending our own money on these things, and I think sometimes that's lost. And I think it's also taboo because it's almost like tapping into people's financials. I mean, I'm not saying I'm poor. It's almost like, oh, because you have to budget. You're poor. You don't have the money. No, I have the money. I make sure my bills are paid. I'm just being fiscally responsible with collecting.
Yeah,
because these aren't Black Series. These aren't 3-inch figures that are $9.99 at Walmart. They cost $300, $400, $500. That's a car payment and insurance for a figure. Think about that. So to be budget and fiscally responsible, I mean, it's I just made it sound really terrible, but that's my point of view.
No, yeah, I totally get it. I get you. I hear you, man. Steve, what about you? How do you budget for your hobby and everything else going on?
Yeah, well, kind of similar to what you guys mentioned, but I think for me, for this hobby, I used to not budget, but I think in 2017, so about 5 years ago, it just got where Hot Toys and these other manufacturers were really releasing a lot of interesting stuff, and my pre-orders just started getting more and more and more. And at that time is when it was like, oh, I really need to kind of keep track of this stuff and just plan around it. I wanted to get ahead of it, and so I started budgeting at that time. And what I do is at the start of the year, I set a budget for the full year, and on top of that, at the start of each month, I have a little overflow for those little spontaneous purchases, or if kind of what Mr. Mom was saying earlier, if there's not a purchase that I want to do that month, then I can apply that money towards paying off something that's coming up pretty quick. So I don't have things kind of stacking on top of each other that kind of blows a monthly budget or my annual budget. And that's what works for me. And I got a spreadsheet that actually has two different tabs. One tab kind of just a bunch of columns, and it lists all the figures I bought, where I bought it, how much I paid, do I own it, is it paid off, is it a pre-order, just kind of that kind of stuff. I also keep track of the day I ordered it, and so sometimes it's crazy looking back, like, man, I ordered that 2.5 years ago and just now getting it.
Yeah. So I'm actually in that boat right now.
Yep. And then and the other tab is things that I have on payment plans, just so I can kind of keep track and making sure things aren't overlapping too much. And if if there's an opportunity to get ahead and pay one off early and stuff, I can keep track of it there.
Yeah.
And that's worked great for me for the past 5 years. I enhance it throughout that 5 years, and we get tips and tricks from other things. But I budget everything. My weekly paycheck gets budgeted, and house payment, bills for this and that, and that's just kind of how I manage all of our family's finances, is through budgeting. And to me, doing that, I always know how much money I have or don't have, or if we can go on vacation here, or maybe we should scale it back and go on vacation there. So it just kind of helps me plan life, really.
Yeah. No, yeah, like you guys mentioned, like we touched on earlier with balancing the actual hobby itself and time, right? It's just finances, same thing. Family responsibilities, bills, all that stuff comes first, and what do we have left over is what we go towards the fun stuff, right? The fun fund, if you want to call it. But yeah, and it's just like you guys touched on, just being financially responsible, and that's I know we've all heard in the previous streams and how other YouTubers and what others saying, just kind of be careful, right? And it can become addicting. But that's where you gotta have to draw a line. It is a hobby, but just like anything else, it can become addicting, and you can fall into that either like there's just FOMO or just kind of getting that next one, and then it can snowball from there. So you got to be careful, and setting a good budget, a strict budget, and following that is a really good way to do that. So yeah, I echo what you guys are saying. Obviously, pay your responsibilities first, and then whatever's left, spend on yourself. I will add also payment plans are obviously a good one. People mention payment plans. Those are helpful. Get those wherever you can. If those will definitely help you out. And to actually add to that, I know this probably may be controversial, maybe, I don't know, taboo, because I haven't really heard anyone else mention it, but I actually have a credit card that I use for my strictly for my collectibles, right? Because that'll help me, for one, track, like, how much money I'm spending, and how that, if I ever have any issues, I know I have a separate card for collectibles. But the thing is, even with that, right, you have to be really financially mature to use a credit card. And I'm not saying max it out, right? Because there's definitely a lot of factors that go into having one. But on the plus side, if you use it responsibly, it's a tool, right? So it'll help you. It'll actually help you with your payment plan. So obviously, things like if you pay it off on time before the interest accrues, right? Then it's just like a payment plan. You're just using it to pay a month, and typically it's before the end of the month. And so if you can use that responsibly, there are benefits to that. And of course, depending on how your credit is when you sign up for one, you can actually get cash back and get cash rewards. So the credit card I have, that builds up and I get cash rewards. And so that's money back in my pocket. Depending on where you get it from, you can obviously use it for other things, other benefits like airline mileage or other perks or things like that. But it's one of those things, right, where it's really easy to kind of overdo it with the credit card. So you have to be really sure. If you're the type of person who's not really disciplined financially on that, then it's probably maybe something twice about. But if you feel like it's something that you can do, I would recommend it. It helps you build your credit too. If you don't have a good credit record, it's an ongoing credit report that'll boost it up. So there are a lot of pluses to having that, but then obviously, like anything else, there's a lot of cons to it if you're not careful with how you use it. So it's not for everyone, but the option is there. So just do your research, look at the factors that will affect your credit score and all that things. But that's a good way, I think, to echo what everybody said.
Yeah, we do. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah, we do something similar. We have a card, and I put all my figure purchases on it, and then pay it off. But we earn the points, and then at the end of the year, we use those points. We can redeem them for cash for a little weekend getaway for my wife and I. So if you kind of look at it that way, the figures are paying for a weekend getaway.
Yep, exactly. Yeah.
For my wife and I.
That's such a nice way of spinning it.
Yeah, it is. No, yeah, it's cool. It is hard though. Yeah, like we're saying, like it's you can kind of have it go back to you in a certain way. Like Steve mentioned, there's like points and mileage, right? It's just you just gotta, like I said, you gotta be careful and definitely do your research. So if you pay it off before the interest rolls over, then you're good. It's kind of like adding a payment plan on a payment plan. So say for instance you have Sideshow's payment plan, then you can use your credit card for that and you pay that off, whatever your monthly installments, right? As long as you pay it on time, then you should be good. It's where you kind of go over there's a percentage, right? You don't want to max it out. You in order for your credit to be on good standing, or to increase your credit score, or to make it not harm you, you have to only spend a certain percentage of whatever the limit is, right? So you kind of have to do your research, and it may be different for everyone. So just for those of you watching, just do your research, make sure you look into it, and to consider, right? It's an option, it's there, but obviously just be careful, be financially responsible with anything else. That's ultimately what it all comes down to, right? So just being financially responsible. All right, anyone else want to add anything to that?
I wish I was more financially responsible like that, but I'll stick to my spreadsheet. That's the best I can do.
Yeah. Like you mentioned, whatever works. Everyone's financial situation is different, right? So there's plenty of options out there. You just kind of have to do your homework, do your research, and see what works. And what worked for you now may not work for you in the future, and vice versa. So it's just something to look into. All right, how you guys doing? I'm doing on time. You guys good?
Yeah, doing good.
Yeah.
All right, so Beskar here had also again, thank you Beskar for joining the stream. I appreciate you supporting us and watching. He says, I rarely pre-order if I'm getting two of a fig. I'll pre-order one from Sideshow, and other than that, it's who gets that figure first and who can get the figure to me the fastest. Yeah, I'm usually, I went the same. If I get two of something at a different scale, maybe I'll get one from Sideshow and then one from somebody else. I actually do that with the Vader that's coming out. I got one from Sideshow for the exclusive, and I got one from someone else, just because taking advantage of both. For one, it's Vader, right? You got to have multiple of that because it comes with the two different head sculpts. It's just it's awesome, right? You kind of it's kind of cool. But yeah, no, I hear you, Beskar. Yeah, thanks for that insight there. And yeah, again, it's just kind of shopping around, and I'm with you on the time. Going back to the time aspect, it's, you know, I don't mind waiting a little bit, but I don't want all the trouble that kind of goes with it, right? If I want to be able to enjoy my figure while I'm still quote unquote young, not that I'm not that young, I'm already half into my life, but you know what I'm saying? Like, if I'm waiting a while to get it, then that's time I'm not going to be enjoying it, type of thing. So again, just balance, right? Everyone's situation is different. Sorry, go ahead, Steve.
Once it ships, or you guys like me and like you're on your phone, you're on the tracking page, I'm like refreshing it. I said 30 minutes later, I'm like, I just checked it 30 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Really?
What am I doing? Yeah.
Yeah.
What's going on? All right. So with that, I think if you guys are good, we're going to go into the next segment, one of the new segments that I'm bringing on. I'm calling it Feezy's 20. So basically what it is, it's a game. It's a play on 20 questions, right? And so it's 20 questions to figure out whatever figure or collectible I have in mind. And it varies, right, depending on the guest. Obviously, this one is going to be Hot Toys because we're focused on Hot Toys for this stream. But yeah, like I explained to you backstage, Ryan and Steve, you have 20 yes or no questions that you can ask me. You ultimately want to save your last question for the actual guest, right? So you have 19 questions, and then your 20th one would be the guess. If one of your questions is a guess and it's wrong, then you lose. So you have to be careful on how you word that. A couple of, I guess, tips here or advice. It's a Hot Toys figure, okay? So that you know, but you're ultimately trying to figure out the character, right? So to kind of keep that in mind, like maybe not necessarily the figure is obviously based on a character, so keep that in mind. And it's Hot Toys, and so yeah, with those, that should help you. Also, I'm not counting reissues. If it's an exact reissue, I'm not counting as two separate ones. That'll just be considered one figure. Same thing with deluxes. If there's like a collector's edition or a deluxe edition, that's still one. It's just, you know, the accessories are different. But 2.0s, though, I'd count those. I would count those as separate if there's something changed from them, right? For example, like this is just an example. Iron Man before, you know, one was made with plastic, and one was made of die cast. I would consider those two different figures just because of the updated technology, and that it's going to alter the question, right? If you ask that question, then that's a different answer. What else? I'm trying to think here. Yeah, ultimately, just you guys work together. I'll keep track of how many questions you ask with my fingers here. Sorry, I know high tech, right? And then you guys in the chat, keep me honest. If I'm wrong about something, let me know. But
These are yes or no's, yes or no questions?
Yeah, just yes or no questions. Okay. I have the figure here in front of me, so I know what it is. It has like a little...
Oh, so that already answers my question. So, all right, I guess I can start. I can go first if you want, because I have it in my... So can I start?
Yeah, just 1 second. And also, sorry, I forgot to say honor system, right? So the chat, you guys can play along too, but you know, obviously you guys kind of don't represent in case they start guessing what it is. So we'll just keep it with us, just us three. But chat, of course, feel free to chime in your answers, and the guests will just kind of have to not look at those.
Oh, so we should hide the chat. Okay.
Yeah, hide the chat just in case, because yeah, it's just between you two. Yeah, of course, chat can play and they can play along on the chat, but you guys, you know, yeah, close your chat just to keep it with to keep the possible answers on just YouTube. But
so is this I mean, I almost have to ask, is this a figure that you are planning to purchase?
Is that going to be your first question?
You can make it my first question. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, with that, let's Feezy's 20 begin. So is this a figure I'm planning on purchase? Yes. So that's your first question. So remember, you have 19 total questions, and then your 20th question would be what the figure is. If you get to that point, if you know it earlier, then you can say what it is earlier. But yeah. So yes, this is a figure I plan on getting.
Okay, and so that tells me you plan on getting means you don't have it yet. So my question would be, is this a figure that is a pre-order, or is it available today?
It is a pre-order.
Ah, okay.
Sorry, I just messed that up. Yes or no questions, and I just forced to have it answer your question. So that was a gimme. But yeah, it's yes or no questions. Yes or no questions only. But now you know that.
Okay. So it's
Is
a
it?
figure you want to get that is a pre-order.
Yeah, yes.
Yes. Sorry. Yeah.
Is it part of Marvel line?
Yes.
Is it a
Ah, good one. I'm trying not to look up the Sideshow Marvel pre-order site.
No, I'm looking at my phone. My wife texted me, so I'm reading my text messages.
Oh,
So if I have my head down, I'm not.
is
no
it
worries.
is it for a Marvel movie or Disney Plus series that has been released this calendar year? So like Love and Thunder, Black Panther, Loki. I think was Loki this year.
No.
Ooh,
Hasn't been released this year. No. This past year.
okay.
Is it a 6 scale figure?
Yes.
Is it the Black Panther reissue figure?
Is that your guess?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Oh,
Wow, you guys got
Nice.
it. Wow, it is. Yeah.
I was trying to think. Well, what's like an older movie that has a
Good
pre-order? If it wasn't Black Panther, I was going to get into the Iron
Well,
Man.
my next question would have been: was it a die-cast figure, which would have eliminated
Yeah.
Iron Man if it was yes. So I was really peeling the onion back to try to figure out how I was going.
Yeah. Oh, that was good.
Yeah,
was
that's
fun.
awesome. Good job. Yeah, you got it.
Now
Wow,
here,
that was like, what, 6
all right. So here's a question: is if we have a few minutes.
Yeah.
So that being said, because I pre-ordered the Black Panther myself, if you want to call it a reissue, because it's the Civil War suit, but they're calling it's like a combination of, it's a Civil War suit, but they have it under the Black Panther solo title with a couple extra features, if that makes sense. So it's kind of a hybrid. Did you guys see the new Black Panther movie yet or no?
Twice.
I have, yeah.
Oh, you did?
Oh,
I
wow,
haven't
already.
seen it. I haven't seen it. So that being said, and I asked this to a lot of people I've never streamed with before, so it might be a two-part question. There's a reason for it. So my first question is, are you getting, I guess Feezy, because Steve, did you order the Black Panther, or do you plan on getting the original, the reissue? Do you plan on getting that one?
I have the
One way or
from
another?
the solo film.
Okay.
So I'd like
Do
to
you-
get the reissue, but I'm
So
not
I mean,
sure yet.
well, even if you don't get the reissue, you have it. So do you guys plan on getting the female Black Panther to go as a companion piece with it, or?
For me, it depends on the head sculpt. I'm holding off on the head sculpt. It does look cool, and I'm kind of leaning towards yes, just because how it looks already, just the suit. But I'm waiting to see how the head sculpt comes out. So obviously, because I haven't shown it yet.
So that being said, the reason why I asked this question, and I asked this question, either I type it in streams because I'm really curious because this is a topic that comes up. Are you able to disconnect yourself? How do I phrase this question? If you see a Marvel movie, and forgive my language, it sucks.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Does that prohibit you from getting the figures from that movie? Because maybe the figures are awesome, and I always use the example of Morbius. I still never saw the movie. I hear people say it's good, bad. Mostly people say it's not that great, but the figure looks amazing. Like, I might get the figure. I haven't seen the movie. Or like even Venom. People don't like Venom, but they like the Venom figure, so they'll buy the Venom figure. So those are just two examples. I mean, people could say they hate Spider-Man No Way Home and get Spider-Man. I don't know. It's just an example. But so can you disconnect yourself from the movie? Because there's people that say, hey, I have to see the movie first before I get a figure. There's people that, me personally, I can get a figure whether or not, like, I have Venom. Morbius, I might get it because I really like the character. Like, it looks cool itself. The display with the bats and everything, like, that might go well with a setup that I have. But Can you guys differentiate, or do you guys have to be sold on the movie to kind of be invested in getting, even if you get one figure from the line, it could be 4 figures, you get one. Do you have to be sold on the movie?
I think for me, it depends. If it is a figure that just looks really awesome and I love it, and maybe didn't love the movie, but if I love the figure, I'm totally fine getting it. If it's a figure that I like a lot, but I don't really like the movie, then I maybe not.
Yeah.
And then with the Black Panther, the new one, The only reason I'm holding out, because I love the movie. The first time I saw it, I liked it a lot. The second time, I loved it, and my son felt the same way. But the reason I'm holding out is also the head sculpt, and I want to see what other figures they release and see if I want to collect the full line or just her, or, maybe just a couple.
Yeah.
So I'm just holding out a little bit.
Yeah, I was just curious
Yeah.
about that. 'Cause
For me,
I get it from that.
Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Oh no, I was gonna say, yeah, I agree with the insane one here. I personally can, for the most part, I haven't, never say never, right? But for the most part, I can separate the movie or the source material from the character. Morbius looks like an awesome character or figure. And it was just, regardless of, even if it's just the only one made in that movie, just the tailoring, the face sculpt, the paint, it just looks awesome. And the bats, obviously the accessories. And so I personally pre-ordered that one because that's one that I really liked. And as soon as I saw it, I was like, whoa, that's awesome. And in general, that's, if there's something I really like, then I pre-order it. It's just, it's something I don't really mind, getting the retail price. So again, of course, I'll shop around. But that's something I really wanted, and I'm able to separate the movie.
Like one that comes to mind is Love and Thunder. I thought the movie was just forgettable. Is a nice way of saying it. But the Thor figure, the Jane Foster Thor and the Thor himself, they look badass in my opinion. I mean, they look great. They look really vibrant. The colors are really vibrant. They look really great together. I could see them being really awesome together in the display. So I might get those. I have the Thor from Infinity War, which to me that's the definitive Thor that I have. I just love that look with the beard, the short hair. It just looks really great. So I haven't gotten another Thor since, but I might pick those two up just because I really like them a lot. The movie was a throwaway for me. I laughed at it. It wasn't. It's definitely not a. It's not winning an Oscar anytime soon. But the figures themselves though were awesome from it. I wish they made a Christian Bale. I wish they made Christian Bale in that because I definitely would have got that. That's a lost opportunity right there. That was an absolute miss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about Gore today. I was like, man, I think one of him. But the Thor and Mighty Thor, regardless if you like the movie, the shelf presence and
absolutely
next to each other, that would be great.
Yep, absolutely. So, but that's another one because like I said, a lot of people when I see movies come out and they talk about Hot Toys, a couple streams, I just hear people say, well, I got to see the movie first before I can pass judgment on buying the figure, and I respect that because people, everyone has a connection to their collection for one reason or another. It could be because they like the movie, you get the figure, you get the it's nothing wrong with that. But I just also think that there's I can separate poorly written movie but maybe an awesome character where it's the design of the figure. So I'm thinking about Morbius with the Dead Strange. I wasn't a huge fan of Multiverse of Madness. I wasn't a huge fan of that movie. I thought it was wasn't what I expected from a Sam Raimi movie. But the Dead Strange with the the zombies and all that stuff, I think that and Morbius together, on the shelf wise, that could be a really awesome shelf presence, and maybe Scarlet Witch, those three together. So that's why I say that. And like I said, I still haven't seen Morbius, and I don't plan on it. But the figure, I can see that coming. That's one that I'll break the rule for and get it if there's a coupon. I'll snag that one up.
Gotcha. Yeah. Morbius was I personally don't see it wasn't that bad. I saw it and I think it's probably just part of a running joke that everyone's just trashing it, but I honestly thought it was okay. It wasn't horrible. I've seen worse movies than that, but the character and the figure was definitely awesome. And so like I said, if it looks good,
Jared Leto. Jared Leto's awesome. I love him. So but that figure might be coming home.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm usually pretty easy to please when it comes to movies. I usually find something to like in almost all movies. But the AVP, remember the Alien vs Predator movie that could have been something grand and awesome, and they were what they were. But I have a ton of figures from those movies because those aliens and predators are they're awesome. So regardless of what I thought of the movies, I would get those. If Hot Toys re-releases them or makes them again, I would totally buy them.
Well, just like RoboCop. I have RoboCop, the die-cast already, but I mean RoboCop 3. That wasn't. I mean, that was a throwaway movie.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely picking up that RoboCop because I want that jetpack. That's childhood for me. So I mean, it's just awesome. There's certain figures I just can't pass. Like, do I need it? No. Do I want it? 100%. That's coming home.
Yeah.
But like to get that with the jetpack, with the gun on, the gun on his arm, that kind of thing. That's just childhood for me. I mean, that's what that was. I mean, because I remember having those toys as a kid. So that's like another one. The movie was awful, but I mean, no one can deny that it's RoboCop. I mean, it's it's coming home definitely.
What was that?
I've been...
GI. Oh, sorry.
No, it's all right. Go ahead.
Oh, the GI Joe movie that Paramount released like 5-6 years.
Yeah.
They had The Rock and Bruce Willis and stuff. So there was that movie, but I totally got The Rock. I got the Bruce Willis. I got Snake Eyes, Storm Shadow. I think I have all 4 of those. Because they look awesome. But for kind of what Mr. Mom was mentioning, because the childhood, and when we started this stream, I mentioned, as a little kid, I always wanted those 12-inch Joes, and so that was my opportunity to get updated versions of those, even though the movie was, kind of maybe not the best movie, but those figures are great.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Like it all comes down to if you like it, if it catches your eye, if it's something you're into, there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, I would ultimately, like you guys mentioned already, I think, Ryan, you mentioned earlier also, right? It's like you're curated to it's our collection at the end of the day. So, some of us can separate the character from the source material, others can't. So, I mean, ultimately, it's just our individual choices and decisions. But I personally
100%.
can. Yeah, if I look at the fun factor and how awesome it looks. Like, for example, the Arena Fett, I honestly didn't really know that was from a comic, but as soon as I saw it, I was like, "Oh man, that's awesome!" It's like all
that is the only figure. That's the only figure I fell for FOMO. Sorry to cut you off. That's the only one I can say FOMO got me. I'm buying that one. It's the only figure.
But so you have it now?
Yeah, that's the one.
Right.
Well, he's up there. Yeah, he's up. That's the one I was photographing in the dirt.
In the dirt, playing in the dirt.
Oh, is it? Okay.
It was the Arena Fett. Yeah, that's the one I was photographing in the dirt. That's the only figure I can tell you I fell for FOMO and I bought that, not knowing anything about it, and I'm still glad I got it.
Right. So once you got it, were you happy you did?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
By the way, those outdoor shots of Mando that you took, Mr. Mom, those are great. I really like those.
I appreciate that. I'm trying to step up my game in terms of photography. I mean, I look at stuff all the time on Instagram, and I'm blown away by the photos that I see. So I'm just trying to use my elements in my backyard and stuff like that. I took a bunch of shots today. I'll be looking at stuff after we're done here. I got like 500 photos of Mando. So I'm hoping it's so reflective in the sun. I'm hoping out of 500 photos, I get one awesome one that I could use to post. So we'll see what happens. I'll go through my photo dump and see what we got going on. So.
Did all of us get the arena boba? I got it.
Yeah, it's on a payment plan for me, so I think I have one more. But it's one of the ones I put that on payment plan. But yeah, I secured one. Like I said, right when I saw it and I saw how awesome it looked, I was like, okay, I need to have that one. And so I pre-ordered it. And fortunately, I was glad that I did. And shout out to all those who had their waitlist converted and got it. And sorry for those who weren't able to. I know it's we didn't know at the time how it was going to be. Some people were kind of holding off, but sorry if you weren't able to secure one. Hopefully it comes back in the future. I know some people are kind of iffy about that, but hopefully you're able to get one in some form or some way. I mean, I should say. Real quick, Beskar here is a fan of the G.I. Joe movie, so right on.
We got one.
Right? Yeah.
I don't think I've liked it. I like the second one better.
Is that the more recent one, right?
Yeah. Well, they released a Snake Eyes like a couple years
That's
ago.
What I was thinking of. Yeah.
That I felt could have an opportunity to be like Logan. Logan was the Wolverine movie all of us have been waiting for.
Yeah.
And I was hoping Snake Eyes kind of would have went that direction, and it didn't.
Yeah, I saw bits and pieces. I wasn't really focused, but it looked pretty cool from what I was watching. But I don't think I've seen G.I. Joe, so I can't really At least that version. I can't, the original with Bruce Willis and The Rock, so I can't form an opinion on that one. But gentlemen, it has been fun. Thank you for joining me. Thank you all out there, for those of you who caught the stream, who stayed to the end, who jumped in throughout the stream. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your especially thank you for your time. Like I mentioned earlier, I value time, and so I in turn respect everyone else's time. And so I am grateful for you guys tuning in and watching us, or if you're catching the replay, thank you. I appreciate it again. I know it's with so much content out there, including these guys here, which we'll go over here in a second. You have so much to choose from. And if you chose to watch this stream or any of my other videos or my other content, again, respect, much love. I appreciate it. And hopefully I didn't let you down with this one. I promise to keep growing and progressing and being more entertaining. And as more I do it, I'll get up there. So, but yeah, so with that, we'll go through what we got working on. We'll start with Ryan, Mr. Mom's Collectables. What do you got coming up? Tell the folks out there what you got going on.
I got a couple shorts that I got coming up. There's one short that I'm releasing tonight around midnight. It's kind of a behind the scenes of my Boba Fett arena in the dirt. Just a little quick 30-second short on that. Working on a video. I'm going to start filming it tomorrow. Specifically, I think it's entitled "Why I'm Breaking Up with My DTOFs."
Oh
My
yeah,
DTOF cabinets.
yeah.
So that's a new video that I have going on that I made the banner for it, but it's I think I'm calling it "It's Not You, It's Me," and why am I breaking up with my DTOFs? So space allocation, things like that. I'm gonna put them in there, but pop culture living room, or I think Costa, I think his name is. I forgot it.
That's right.
I apologize if I got it wrong, but I'll
No,
tag
that's
him in the
it.
video.
Yep,
But he did that Modu case-esque type of shelving display, which him and Posing with Peter, he took that and tweaked it. I ordered my racks off Walmart. Thanks for, Feezy, thanks for giving me the link for that to buy those. So I got those coming next week, and but I'm doing a video about why I switched away from DTOF cabinets. There's nothing wrong with them. They're just not for me anymore, and that's part of the reason why me changing as a collector, and all aspects have to be looked at. We talked about budget. Next one is space, and there's different reasons why, and this is one of them. That this is a video that I'll film it tomorrow, and I'll put it up next week about why my decision to get rid of them. But there's other review videos coming through. I got a couple other things in the pipeline, and as always, Gwen Stacy's Hot Toys reviews. I think she's up to part 5. There'll be a part 6 and 7 next week at one point. She gets her hands on. Maybe I'll give her something a little more expensive to see what her thoughts are about it. So she'll be next. So
yeah, really cute. Yeah, super cute. That's cool that you did that. Again, I've kind of you motivated me to kind of let my kids explore a little more with my hot toys. So yeah, thanks for that. But yeah, looking forward to those. It's super cute. Yeah, you guys, like I mentioned, if you're not already, take a look down in the description below. I put in links for Mr. Mom's Collectables. Check his stuff out. Maybe consider subscribing, liking some of the stuff if you're interested. It's down there. Hopefully it is. If it's not, just shoot me in the a comment and I'll add it in there later. Post. I'm planning on going and adding the timestamps, like I said. So for you catching the replay, well, you're already at the end anyway. So, but yeah, those will be down there in case you want to reference this again. Take a look at that, and yeah, be sure to check out his channel. Thanks again, Ryan, for being a part of the stream. I know it's been, some time coming to get you on. We've had our off schedules, but I'm finally glad to get you on here.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. I really hope we could do this again. Like I said, if we can do something later or whatnot, I really do appreciate it. And like I said, I'm eventually going to start streaming in the next couple of weeks on mine. So if you guys want to jump over to mine, do streaming, we'll figure out a time that works. But I really appreciate it. And like I said, you didn't have to have me on, and I welcome the opportunity to come on, and I really appreciate that. I thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah, well, definitely good. Well, anytime you want to come back on, you can always, you're welcome back.
Thank you.
All right. Steve, let's see here. I think I have yours on here. Going back to Mr. Mom. Oh, there we go. Let me get you on here. All right, Steve, with Steve's Showcase, what do you got going on? Tell the folks out there.
Yeah, well, first, I just want to say this past 2 hours have been a ton of fun. Thank you so much. This is my first live stream, what I mentioned when we started. So I wasn't quite sure what to expect, but this has been a blast for me. So Thank you again. What's coming up for me is really just two things. One is I just want to get more and more involved in the community and be more and more active, watching these live streams and participating in the live chats when I can. A lot of times, just due to balancing out with life, sometimes I just see them on the replays, and then the different engaging with the different social network communities and stuff, getting to know people. Hopefully doing some more live streams. This was great. And then the other thing is, I really enjoy seeing people do collection tours. I just love hearing them talk about stuff, seeing the things they're passionate about and stuff. So I think I may produce a collection tour of my stuff. So I just thought that would be a lot of fun to do. So I think those are kind of the two big things: is get even more engaged with the community, maybe do some live streams as part of that, or be a part of live streams. I don't think I'm quite ready to host a live stream just yet. And then do a collection tour.
Gotcha. Yeah, sounds good. I think eventually, if people ask, or if there's enough interest, I'll probably do one also. And I probably already saw both sides of at least two of my walls here in my room, from my previous streams. But yeah, maybe I'll do that. But yeah, no, thank you again for coming on. Yeah, again, same. I know we've been having discussions in the background, leading up to this point. So we've gotten to know each other pretty well before this, and so that's really cool. Again, goes back to what you guys were saying about the community. You guys reached out. We just started chatting and started talking, sharing our hobby, and we met within this community, and this is really cool. For those out there who are kind of intimidated, I would say don't be. Just kind of just start talking, chatting. It sounds like we all started in the chat. That's where I would say that's where my heart is. The chat's always fun. I always participate in those chats, even the shows, other streamers, other YouTubers out there. That's part of what makes it fun, just having conversations in the chat. And so for those of you that are always out there, we're super friendly, Insane One, Thule, Tyria, Beskar, Tremble Dust, I'm sure I'm forgetting some, Commander Green, of course, Blackbird Tech, all those, you all know who you are. Thank you for, there's too many to name, so sorry if I missed you, but you guys all make it really friendly and inviting. So yeah, appreciate chatting with all of you guys. And as far as for me, I'm hoping to keep this up. This is episode 2. I'm still trying to look for a groove, right, of time and day. I think Saturdays, I don't know about when Saturdays, but it seems to be when I personally have time. Maybe I'll kind of vary it up here and there depending on schedules of my guests and what they're doing, and how their schedule's working out. So I'll kind of play it by ear. But yeah, I looking to kind of get more into other things, kind of branch out and maybe do other like tips and tricks videos, kind of similar to what Ryan's doing. Some other things in my experience, and it sounds like we have some similar ideas, right, on why we started our channel. I think we both share the same goal of helping others, right? We just want to help others. So one of the reasons why I created this again is to kind of spread info and share information, experience about people who have families and kids, and juggling that and collecting. And so yeah, same. I just want to kind of share and pass on what I've learned, my mistakes, and anyone that I can help out as far as my experiences or the guest experience. You guys sharing your experiences, hopefully someone learned and picked up on that. So yeah, that's all I'm looking to do. Just go out and share the information for those who may be new to the game or just coming in or just curious about certain things. But yeah, so with that, thank you again, guys. Oh, real quick, sorry, I wanted to say the 20 questions thing. I'm a fan of IGN, so for those of you that caught that, I stole that from there. They play video game 20 questions. Again, I'm a gamer, so I got that from there. So I forgot to mention that earlier, but yeah, I just kind of made it into a figure form. So yeah, looking to keep that going. Let me know in the comments if you guys like that. And again, if you enjoyed what you're watching, consider liking, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. All right, have a good night.
Thank you so much, everybody. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.